expect all natural delivery in the future.
No.
Darn.
When I hear realtors boast about servicing a 3-county area or selling a home every 15 minutes, I think, what level of service could their clients possibly be getting? This is Chris Jacobs with Century 21 affiliated in Inverness, and my message is a little bit different. If being a realtor for more than 20 years has taught me one thing, it's that all real estate is local. While I can't say I'm the #1 realtor in the country, I can tell you that over the past 10 years, I've sold more homes in Inverness than anyone else. My team specializes in Inverness, Palatine, and Arlington Heights. We pride ourselves on providing our clients exceptional customer service and local market knowledge. So if you're selling your home or looking to purchase a property in our area, then call me, Chris Jacobs, at 847-401-4859. That's 847-401-4859. Or visit us at chrisjacobshomes.com.
Each office independently owned and operated. An equal housing opportunity.
It is 5:10. Let's get an update on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. In for Jim this morning, it's Dominic Fortini. Good morning, Dominic.
Good morning. Problems already this morning in Des Plaines. After an overnight crash, we've got Rand Road closed in both directions between Minor and Elk. Use some extra caution there. There was a crash and a subsequent police investigation currently going on. Certainly some power outage in the area as well as a result of that overnight crash. Probably best to avoid that area in Des Plaines. The rest of our area roadways looking great. Edens and Kennedy, Ike, Stevenson, Ryan, all moving right along. I-57, Bishop Ford, and our Illinois tollways get the early thumbs up. Traffic to service of Napa. This month at Napa Auto Parts stores, the most popular lawn and garden battery is just $21.99 with exchange, or save $10 instantly on all other lawn and garden batteries. Quality parts, helpful people. That's the Napa know-how. Some exclusions apply at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Traffic answers when you need them the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answers starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast with meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today some sun, then turning cloudy. High 45. Tonight occasional rain and drizzle, low 37. Breezy and chilly with periods of rain tomorrow, high 44. Then rain or snow showers in spots late tomorrow night, low 27. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
25 at O'Hare, 28 along the lakefront, 25 at Midway, 20 chilly degrees this morning in Aurora. Your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Advanced Planning Advisors, bringing you Smart Money Talk with Mike Moylan and Rob Curvin, Saturday mornings at 6.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning is the equally leggy and lovely John Cass. John,
thank you, Dan.
Thanks for joining us. I assume everyone had a blessed and happy Easter and Passover, and John, you'll have your Easter this weekend.
Yes, coming up.
Yeah.
It's Holy Week for me, so I have to adjust my, tone.
Yes.
And love everyone.
Well, all right. It starts today, 4 hours of John Cass's love. We'll look forward to that. Now, I know, as I tweeted out, you're mainly a fan of sports that are popular in distant places, foreign countries, Uruguay, Portugal. But
the most popular sport in the world.
Are you familiar with American basketball?
And also the demographic that Dan Proft should be seeking. The young
Portuguese?
People, the young people that aren't David Hogg, the other young people.
But you're familiar with this, the basketball, Dr. James Naismith, the Peach Baskets. It's evolved a bit since then.
Pass 6 times before you shoot, and then do the underhand free throw like Gene Hackman says.
It's 4 times.
Oh,
okay, but yeah.
No, I saw the game.
I appreciate the tribute to Ali. Yes,
I've been watching the tournament. It was a great game. They just couldn't hit. They weren't hitting the threes in the beginning, and it cost them.
A fun. Do you remember this woman, Angelo Rocco DiCarlo? She allegedly covered culture, travel, and entertainment for the Chicago Tribune, among other publications.
I'm sorry, I do not.
She had an op-ed over the weekend in the Wall Street Journal, the Benedictines hit a three-pointer. I had no plans to watch the NCAA basketball tournament until my son Danny called last weekend to alert me Porter Moser, the coach of Loyola, a Bennett boy, graduate of Bennett Academy.
How many times have we had to hear that on this show?
I'm reading an op-ed. This has nothing to do with
saying.
me. I'm just trying to localize this, for the folk, as if Loyola isn't local enough, but a second level to it. So all of her sons, Mr. DeCarlo's sons, went to Bennett, so they're probably very successful. And she made the point that Porter Moser's first words after Loyola beat Kansas State last weekend that sent him to the Final Four were to thank God and then the players. She writes, competitive sports clearly build character and loyalty. A beautiful enterprise. Being a female of the Jurassic era, I never had the chance to experience this personally, but I'm delighted girls and women have the opportunity today. Well, they won't enjoy it while it lasts because it's soon to go away when we eliminate gender and thus gender-specific sports and thus women in sports.
How dare you even talk? What is gender? You can't even say the word without having the rat cage put on your head. Come on.
Ask Sister Jean about it. I think she'll have some insights on it. Sister Jean, of course, the celebrated mascot, if you will, for Loyola through this Final Four run.
She's a great woman, and there was a fellow from Knoxville, Tennessee, what's his name, Cody McClure, who tweeted out early on in the tournament, F-word Miss Sister Jean. Remember him?
No. He told...
A guy from Tennessee, Knoxville, radio host, tweeted out F Sister Jean after Loyola beat Tennessee. David Haw from the Tribune wrote a column about it, and I just couldn't believe the hate leveled against this poor woman.
I can't believe anybody reads David Haw.
I do. He's a great columnist.
Yeah,
he is. And I gave Mr. McClure the Mutza of the month, right in the face, one-handed, right here, bang, for that.
Well, that seems to be sort of in keeping with the times, although it's interesting that we talked about this a bit last week. The matchup ultimately became the secondary matchup, Father Ben versus Sister Jean, because John Beilein, the coach of Michigan, who goes to St. Mary's on the campus of Michigan for Mass, Father Ben is his pastor.
So they brought out Father Ben?
Yeah. Well, you gotta respond in kind to Sister Jean. I
and
suppose.
another elderly woman supporting Michigan, right?
It was nice though. I mean, it was, and you saw actually completely contrary to that idiot from Tennessee. Some of the Michigan players went over and had a nice moment with Sister Jean after they beat Loyola.
Did
so
the
that
big
was
German
cool.
kid have a nice moment
Wagner
after the elbows that he was throwing?
After he put Loyola through the ring cycle?
That was tough. But I mean, how the kid was hot. He's going to be a top 10 pick.
Yeah, he's a beast.
In the NBA, he's huge.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was great. Great team basketball.
Run.
Was fun. Now the question is, who gets the bigger deal to stay, Porter Moser or Sister Jean?
Does he stay? Sister Jean's not leaving.
I know Sister Jean's not leaving. It'll be interesting. Moser, he could be one of these guys like Mark Few at Gonzaga or Brad Stevens at Butler, where he takes a small program or a small school program, non-power conference program, and he just makes it into a perennial power. So he makes his mark there rather than, taking this to try and level up to a Power 5 conference and make more cash immediately. I don't know.
There was one kid from Michigan who, when it was almost over, when you knew it was over, he's from Chicago. He did a two-handed dunk and a scream. And I thought, come on, man. Come on, man.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Oh, yeah, it's weather. Okay, it's cold. I froze my brass monkey off waiting for Dan to open the door this morning. Today, some sun, then turning cloudy and chilly, high of 45. Tonight, occasional rain and drizzle, low 37. Tomorrow, breezy and chilly. And the main thing I need to know is what's the weather like on Sunday? They don't say so. It's going to be cold. I'll be out there roasted my lamb in the backyard with the head on or head off. I don't know. And now for traffic.
Dominic
Jim.
Fortini.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Dominic.
who's in for Jim.
Helping out today, Des Plaines. We've got some problems there early on. Rand shut down between Minor and Elk after an overnight crash. New construction today in Oak Forest, where you'll find 159th closed. Oak to Cicero. Everything else still a very light traffic volume and moving at the posted speeds. No major incidents or delays. If you're stepping out the door early on today, traffic answers when you need them the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560. The Answer.
Millwright work is often technical and requires a high degree of precision. The pros at Vans Industrial are skilled mechanics that can perform any type of millwright work, including installation and maintenance of your factory equipment and machinery. For your machine repair needs, look no further than Vans Industrial.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. Vans Industrial is an industrial millwright contractor that can install new mechanical systems or repair existing systems. Our services include repair of bearings, shafts, shiv alignments, as well as installation of conveyors and bucket elevators. Our team of trained mechanics will respond to your emergency calls 24/7, keeping your systems operational. We're here to help you.
Call 833-VANS-IND for a free inspection of your facility. That's 833-VANS-IND. Interested in what else they do? Visit vansindustrial.com. That's VANS Industrial.com. Quality craftsmanship since 1964. Quality doors and windows are one of the smartest investments you can make. They improve your home's appearance and save you money on energy bills year-round. Say goodbye to high-pressure sales tactics and enjoy the best window and door experience with Next Door and Window. Call now and schedule your free quote, 630-590-1370, or go online to nextdoorandwindow.com. Next Door and Window has wood-clad, vinyl, and fiberglass windows and doors. Their staff will help you find exactly what you want. Right now, get 10% off windows and doors with no money down and no payments for 1 year. Call 630-590-1370 or go to nextdoorandwindow.com to schedule your free quote. Choose from 3 showrooms in Chicagoland, Arlington Heights, Burr Ridge, and Naperville. Call 630-590-1370 or go to nextdoorandwindow.com to schedule your free quote and for finance qualifications.
Next Door and Window, thousands of options, one perfect fit.
Chicagoland, Dan Proft here, and I'm here with my guy, Ryan Kelly, at the HomeLoanExpert.com. It's real simple with Ryan. He's one of us, and he gets it. Ryan, thanks for joining us. Look, the housing market is hot right now, very hot in Chicago, top of the market. What does someone need to do if they're going to buy a house this year?
You know, what a great question, Dan. I appreciate let me jump on with you, and you're exactly right. The housing market is hot. It's really hot. And if you're even considering buying a house this year, you need to get pre-approved, and you need to be pre-approved by a strong mortgage lender. And I mean that. There's a lot of other lenders. There's a lot of banks out there. But when you get pre-approved by the HomeLoanExpert.com, that pre-approval is like gold. Heck, we even print them on gold paper. They're so valuable. And if you are considering buying a house, know one thing. You're not the only person out there watching the same neighborhoods, the same school districts, waiting for those listings. There's a lot of other people sitting on the sideline. Get pre-approved today at thehomeloanexpert.com. The Home Loan Expert LLC, Illinois residential mortgage licensee.
Don't forget that you can watch Chicago's Morning Answer on the Income Store live video stream every morning at 560theanswer.com.
Here's the cold, hard truth about hard water in our homes. Nearly 90% of America is affected by it. Hard water contains harsh minerals that can dry out skin and hair. Hard water can raise our electricity bill by up to 48%. It even creates buildup in pipes that can lead to pathogenic bacteria growth. Stressed out yet? Don't be. Salt-based water softeners can solve all your hard water issues. Get the full scoop at alittlesalt.org.
Why do we call it small business? Why not agile business, nimble business, dance circles around the big, bulky behemoths business? Ooma Office, the small business phone solution, has a virtual receptionist to direct calls to the right extension and a mobile app to help you answer while away from the office. About all that's small really is the price, starting at only $19.95 a month. Visit Ooma.com, that's OOMA, or call 866-649-9377 to find out more. Ooma, the phone your small business deserves.
AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning is one Chicago Tribune columnist extraordinaire named John Cass. And John, we're waiting to find out what the market rate was for Hillary Clinton's speeches. Well, now that she's no longer Secretary of State, now that she's no longer a candidate for president, that she no longer has influence to peddle. And, boy, a precipitous drop we find. She was at Rutgers over the weekend. And remember the heady days when she was making $250,000 or more to talk for 45 minutes?
Speaking privately to Wall Street bankers, remember they wouldn't release the transcripts of her speeches.
Well, she didn't want to embarrass the Wall Street bankers. She was chastising for, screwing up the mortgage market.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She was at Rutgers. She was paid $25,000 to speak at Rutgers. 25, not 250, not 500, not 750. By way of comparison, in 2011, Jersey Shore star Snooki was paid $32,000 to give advice on how to study hard and party harder.
So she's making less than Snooki?
And that's $25,000 2018 versus $32,000 2011.
Whoa.
Yeah, so Hillary not as much of a value add on campus anymore.
I don't like your
imagine
story,
that.
and I don't like your premise. Here's why. I'm looking at a headline, NBC News, 2018 campaign, Republicans are running against Hillary Clinton again. They want her on the ballot. Here's my question.
I do.
It's not that I want her on the ballot or not. It's that she does reflect exactly what the Democratic Party is about. Whether they say they want her gone or not is not the issue. She reflects what they're saying, what they believe. Like, men locking their women in cages and making sure that they vote their way.
Well, also, I want her just to continue making 10, 15, 25 grand, whatever they can scrape up for her on college campuses these days, just because she's such a source of entertainment. Hillary Clinton, remember this statement you're about to hear from her in the context of her being a representative and cause of Democrats being the super minority party in the country.
But I do worry that what's happened to the Republican Party is that it's being held captive by a very small group of powerful forces. We have seen the power of the NRA, for example, and
a small group of powerful forces holding the Republican Party captive. Yes, they're called elected officials. They're called governors and senators and members of Congress and the 1,000 legislators that were elected during the Obama-Hillary Clinton years.
Are you sure they're not meeting in a mountaintop Erie with a huge mahogany table like out of a Robert Ludlum novel? Because that seems to be where she's going here.
Well, it's
the tripartite commission.
Exactly. I was going to go the Bilderberg group. I mean, the right, Alex Joneses of the world get marginalized, and rightfully so,
for a fraud.
For their knucklehead conspiracy theories.
Right.
But I mean, she's offering something akin to that, and then also Hillary Clinton, of the Clinton Foundation fame, of a $1 billion presidential campaign. You know what really upsets her? Money in politics.
So with Citizens United, it was all bets are off. More money than we've ever seen, and being spent in ways we still to this day don't know. I mean, the NRA spent more money against me than they've ever spent against anybody. And all these other groups were just pumping it out because with the Citizens United decision, we can't stop it, and we can't even follow it, and we often don't even know after the fact.
Like the Buddhist monks and the Chinese money?
Well, I mean,
remember that one?
The entire,
Come on.
The entire Clinton Foundation, quid pro quo. This is so the big takeaways from Hillary Clinton's speech at Rutgers. One, she's very concerned about the future of the Republican Party. And number two, she despises money in politics, even though that's how she and Bill became, 100 millionaires.
I just hope that she doesn't end up on a street corner on Randolph and State with a megaphone, with a box in front of her open so people can drop in some money.
Is that a metaphor?
No, it's like one of those preachers that I've seen on the
Yes, with the sandwich boards.
I don't want that. I want her out there.
Ed in Oak Brook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, all the violations that this lady, and she should be in jail, did she ever lose her security clearance at all? even her husband, I mean, does she still have that?
That's a good
I
question.
never heard her being taken away.
That's a good question. Thanks. I don't know, Ed. Thanks for the call. I don't know what her security clearance level is currently.
Maybe
it's not the same it was when she was Secretary of State, obviously, but I don't know if she still has one or not. And the operative phrase that Ed made there was taken away.
Jim Comey might answer that when you have him on to front his new book.
Oh, that's right. Sure. Looking forward to the Jim Comey book tour. I wonder if he'll sell more books than Snooki. Coming up, we'll talk a little Chuck Todd, give you a little tutorial on Christianity from Chuck Todd and the D.C. Press Corps this weekend. But now we check the headlines with Mike Todd.
Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. 26 degrees at 5:29. President Trump says he's no longer willing to work with Democrats over deferred action for childhood arrivals, or DACA. President Sunday tweeting that border agents can't do their job properly and urged Republicans in the Senate to utilize the nuclear option of a simple majority instead of a 60-vote margin to pass tougher laws. Chinese officials say their space station is burned up over the South Pacific. The Tiangong-1 has been out of service since 2016. School is out this morning in Oklahoma as teachers there are staging a wildcat walkout. Districts across the state have called off classes as teachers gather in Oklahoma City demanding pay raises. Alabama Senator Doug Jones believes EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt may be in real trouble.
The perception is not good at all. The fact that he has had a controversy with expenses, which I think is one of the things that people are just frustrated with.
Pruitt is in trouble, according to Jones, for not spending enough money renting out a single bedroom for $50 a night in a condo co-owned by the wife of an environmental and energy lobbyist. A retired pastor in Tennessee is being charged with multiple child molestation counts. Detectives in Nashville identified multiple victims who claim they were molested by Matthew Denny Patterson between 1998 and 2017. An investigation continues after 3 were killed in an ambulance crash over the weekend in Bellwood. Authorities say the ambulance was transporting Larry Marshall Jr. home from dialysis treatment on Saturday when the driver lost control and slammed into a building near 28th and Washington Boulevard. Authorities are trying to determine what caused a deadly fire in Oak Park. One man died shortly after being pulled out of the building by firefighters. No other injuries are reported. Another health scare for veterans at the state's home in Quincy. The Illinois Department of Public Health announcing a number of people living at that home have now come down with a stomach bug, and they suspect it is norovirus. So far, 24 veterans at the home have been sickened. There are worries that Illinois is not getting the biggest bang for its buck with its $100 million Volkswagen settlement. Sun-Times reporting yesterday that environmental groups worry the state is missing an opportunity to fight pollution in a big way. Remember those piano notes? It's a Grammy-winning song by Mike Post, the theme to Hill Street Blues. Television writer and producer Stephen Bochco has died over the weekend. Name behind a powerhouse television production company, passed away after a years-long battle with leukemia. He was 74. Produced that. Title, Hill Street Blues, Doogie Howser, L.A. Law, NYPD Blue, all the way through the early 2000s. Stephen Bochco did, at the age of 74. Chicago sports, Dylan Peters fired 6 shutout innings of work. Marlins blanked the Cubs 6-0 in Miami. Cubs played the first of 2 against the Reds early this evening at the Great American Ballpark. Yesterday's game between the White Sox and Royals in KC postponed due to freezing weather. A makeup date, April 28. Sox open a set with the Blue Jays tonight. The news service of La Quinta Inns and Suites. How do business travelers win on the road? By staying at La Quinta Inns and Suites. Relax with contemporary lobby makeovers and stylish room designs. Prepare to win at business. Book now at lq.com. 5:33, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher sees a president annoyed with the Russia investigation.
The president is clearly frustrated. The president is clearly disappointed. The president is clearly antsy to get this thing over with. If you've got proof of some kind of collusion, establish it already. Do it. All this other stuff is a distraction.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Get your truly free credit score and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma. Download the Credit Karma app today. Credit Karma. Get knowing.
Do you manage a manufacturing operation that includes Allen Bradley controls that have been phased out? Innovative Control, Inc., a 25-year-old control system integrator located in Chicagoland, understands that converting to new platforms is expensive, and in many cases a minimal return on the investment. ICI works with their customers to help find justification for these projects, adding functions for equipment efficiency calculations, real-time material consumption and tracking, the Internet of Things, and connectivity with your business system can contribute to your ROI. As part of the process, network security is a cornerstone to help protect your physical and intellectual property. ICI will meet with you and your team to understand your operations and current control system. From this review, they identify additional functions that can offset the costs, creating a return on the investment. For your company's review, contact Dave Stock at 815-529-2915 or visit ICI560.com. That's Dave Stock at 815-529-2915 or online at ICI560.com.
5:35. Let's get an update on that ride to work. In the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, in for Jim, here's Dominic.
Well, that ride through Des Plaines is going to be a little bit tougher if that includes your travel plans. Rand Road shut down between Minor and Elk after an overnight crash. Edens and Kennedy looking good. Kennedy in at 20 minutes in from O'Hare, 10 in from the Junction 8 and the inbound express. Eisenhower all right. Stevenson starting to pick up in traffic volume. A minor delay starts up near Pulaski. 35 minutes in from 355. Inbound Ryan slows at Canal Ford. Inbound Bishop Ford hung up at Cottage Grove. Traffic's a service of Napa. This month at participating Napa Auto Parts stores, buy a Napa bucket for $2.99 and you'll get 20% off the items you put inside it. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how. While supplies last, exclusions apply. Minimum $50 purchase. Traffic answers when you need them the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer is next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Sunshine this early morning, then cloudy and chilly later in the day, high 45. Occasional rain and drizzle overnight, a low of 37. A breezy and chilly day tomorrow, a high only of 44. Currently 25. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy, with our friend John Cass sitting in with us this morning on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Revealed with Randy Barcella, Sunday mornings starting at 8.
Let freedom ring this afternoon at 2 with Sean Hannity, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
Morning, Dan, and in for Amy is John Cass this morning. John, of course, His Eminence, Tribune columnist, longtime Tribune columnist. And John,
thank you, my son.
I'm not the biblical scholar you are, so normally I look to Chuck Todd. But I'm a little confused by his tweet over the weekend on Good Friday, and I want to ask you a question. Is there a difference between doing good on Friday and Good Friday? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line, if you want to weigh in on this. Because Chuck Todd suggests there isn't, so I don't know anymore.
I don't think we used to talk about biblical illiteracy, but now you can't even discuss illiteracy if people don't even know what the Bible is, what the Gospels are, what Easter's all about. And Chuck Todd, I think he thinks heaven might be where all the Democrats are elected, and he's a happy man.
Yeah, you go to my truth heaven. You go to everybody has their own heaven.
Exactly, because we're all our own God.
Chuck Todd tweeting on Good Friday. I'm a bit hokey when it comes to Good Friday. I don't mean disrespect to the religious aspect of the day, but here it comes. But I love the idea of reminding folks that any day can become good. All it takes is a little selflessness on our own part, works every time. Like, one way you can make a Friday good is, say, dying on the cross for the sins of others. That would be an example. But there are many. I could also be, paying for somebody's coffee in line at Starbucks, according to Chuck Todd. I'm not saying which is more of an act of kindness.
Check the box for on your taxes for public financed elections.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. April 15th, right around the corner. I'm not saying whether dying for the sins of others is more or less of an act of kindness and selflessness than checking the public financing campaign box on your tax returns. I'm just saying that they're both ways to make Friday good.
The ignorance and the is stunning. The
comments are great.
The contempt I have to say, the contempt. I've been in the media for 30 years, and increasingly the contempt of the media toward Christianity is beyond the pale.
Well, the thing about this, it's not even contempt because they're, as you said, they're so ignorant. They don't even know what they're talking about. They can't even direct their contempt appropriately because they're so clueless on the topic. Look, some of these reactions too were great. One is I thought was particularly insightful. In the event you were uncertain about how dopey are the know-nothing sentimentalist DC press corps types presiding over our national policy discussions, I give you Chuck Todd. How about this one? That was mine.
Jason Lee. Complete gibberish. Why would you post this? Do you understand what today actually is? No, Jason, he does not. And, another thing, if you confess to, the only time you can talk about Jesus on television, on NBC, is when you score a touchdown. Right?
Yeah,
then it's okay. Right? But God forbid, I can't even mention that now.
Well,
I don't even know what to say now.
By the way, I mean, he's not the only one. He's just the worst example. This is a guy who hosts Meet the Press. Oh, my goodness. The NPR also got in on the act. They described Easter as the day celebrating the idea that Jesus did not die and go to hell or purgatory or anywhere at all, but rather rose into heaven. I mean, first of all, that is like a fourth grader sentence, number one, with the scrawled in crayon on the NPR website. Jesus did not die.
Or go to hell or purgatory or anywhere like that.
Or any other.
Who wrote this thing? Or anywhere like that. Wow, this, you know what? But given the modern journalism, this might be worthy of a Pulitzer Prize, I think. I'm just saying.
Perhaps. Yeah. I mean, it's no Mary Schmeek, but it's possible.
It is.
It's possible.
I'm gonna not touch that. But yes, look. I can't even begin to get angry because it's like watching, I don't know, little 2-year-olds like bump into the wall. I mean.
But you're right about the contempt. The contempt is just kind of generically directed at people of faith, particularly Christians, because they have no understanding. They have no interest in understanding. They just have an interest in subordinating. Because their religion is politics.
Listen, their religion is heaven on earth with government. That's their religion.
Immanentizing the eschaton,
but
Bill Buckley might say.
Right, but do you think Chuck Todd would say anything as ridiculous about about Islam as he did about Christianity? No. Because if he had I'm not talking about just the politics of it. The politics of the left would not allow it.
Do you think that Chuck Todd gets a bit hokey when it comes to Ramadan too? Is that what you're suggesting?
I think he gets
maybe
hokey.
He doesn't.
I've been watching him get hokey when it comes to Obama, which is not to do with Ramadan, but it's just, plus, what's with that haircut, okay? Come on, Chuck. Comb it back. Deal with it,
Oh, it's truly breathtaking. Now, on the flip side of this, this being a religious week, both leading into Easter as well as this week for the Orthodox community, there's a good editorial in the Washington Examiner about going to church and reminding people of the benefits of going to church, in addition, just kind of the quality of life benefits, in addition to having a relationship with God, which is a benefit in of itself, of course. But social science consistently finds people who go to church do better in life and become better citizens. Excuse me. Bradford Wilcox study, for example, Control for Income and Education, suggested that church attendance is a cause of good outcomes, or certainly correlates to better outcomes. In his book, Our Kids, Robert Putnam found that church-going kids have better relations with their parents and other adults, have more friendships with high-performing peers, are more involved in sports and other extracurricular activities, are less prone to substance abuse, risky behavior, and delinquency. Putnam and Notre Dame's David Campbell also found that regular attendees to church are more likely to give to charity, including non-religious charities, and to volunteer their time, including for non-religious causes. So, it's good.
As long as there's a hell.
There is, and we talked about that last week.
I heard.
Scalfari took some liberties with Pope Francis's remarks, apparently.
Listen, you're hanging. He said the problem with the whole thing is, the Vatican said he wasn't quoted. There were essentially there were no quote marks around the.
Correct. That's Scalfari's interpretation of what Pope Francis said, apparently.
You hang out with atheists, see what happens.
No,
I'm just saying.
Fair point. Tom in Deer Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, I agree with what you guys are discussing as far as, if not a hatred, a contempt of the left for things they don't understand. I'll say religion, which is what you're talking about. And I think it was the New York Times that made a big deal of the fact that they actually hired a religion writer. And I guess I'd make the same comparison about the way they treat the Second Amendment and those that support it in the NRA. It's much easier to not understand it. If it makes it easier for you to hate it if you don't understand it. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely. What's the basis of all hate? Ignorance, right?
Yeah, I mean, it makes it easier for them. It supports the narrative, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right, Tom. Thanks for the call.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Forecast for Chicago today: some sun, then turning cloudy and chilly, high of 45. Occasional rain and drizzle, low of 37 tonight. And tomorrow, breezy and chilly with periods of rain, high 44, low tomorrow 27. And do I leave the head on or off the lamb when I roast it outdoors?
Can the lamb survive for 9 days without a head like that chicken did last week?
I don't even want to get into the time of miracles. I can't. I'm not going to touch it. I didn't even know about it.
All right. Well, Dominic Fortini's waiting patiently for the traffic.
In Des Plaines this morning, Rand Road shut down between Minor and Elk after an overnight crash. Starting to fill in on a couple of area roadways. Kennedy, though, still looking good. 20 minutes in from O'Hare, 10 in from Montrose, 8 in the inbound express lanes. Inbound Ike slows at Oakley, 33 minutes in from Thorndale, 20 in from Manheim. Inbound Stevenson hits the brakes at Harlem, 38 minutes in from 355, and traffic stacking up early today on the inbound side of the Ryan, right near the Stevenson. Scheduled 20 minutes from 95th into downtown. The outbound trip rolling incident-free. Traffic answers when you need them the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
As a parent, you want what's best for your children. That means sending them to a school where they'll get the superior education they deserve, and that also shares your values. That can be tricky these days, as public schools have changed and private schools can be expensive. Your household budget has already been cut to the bone, and it's hard to imagine where you'll find that extra money. Well, there's help to lessen that financial burden and provide your child with the very best education at half the cost. At AM 560, The Answer, we work with private schools throughout the Chicagoland area to provide tuition for families at half the normal cost. Just log on to halfpriceschools.com and you'll find some of Chicagoland's finest private schools, from preschool all the way through high school, at half the cost. And chances are there's a school right in your neighborhood. Invest in your child's education and future at halfpriceschools.com. A limited number of half-price vouchers are available. Go to halfpriceschools.com now.
When the need for senior care arises, there's no place like home. Your loved ones should never have to give up living at home. Visiting Angels will provide home care for your mom or dad at home up to 24 hours per day, including personal care, meals, and light housework. You'll select your professional caregiver with Visiting Angels. Look up visitingangels.com or call 877-374-LIVE. That's 877-374-LIVE. Franchises are available. Visiting Angels, America's choice in senior home care.
As a small business owner, you're juggling it all, including customers' calls from your personal phone. But with Grasshopper, you get a business phone number and a business phone system from our mobile app, so you can work smarter, not harder. Grasshopper forwards calls, texts, even transcribes voicemails. Everything you need to simplify your business and stay responsive. With Grasshopper, there's no long-term contracts, and customer support is 24/7. Whether you're starting or growing your business, Grasshopper is the answer. Now get $20 off your first month when you visit grasshopper.com/radio.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity for Upstream-Ideas.com. The main thing we learned from the 3,000-plus school walkouts that occurred and those already being planned for April 20 is who's in charge of K-12 education in America. And that should frighten you more than your average 18-year-old with a rifle or a violent video game. Those pillaging America's schools like Malcolm McDowell and his droogs in A Clockwork Orange are in charge of our schools, not attending them. It's zero tolerance on the one hand and tolerance of everything, including thuggery, on the other. If you're a white kid who scrawls the square root sign evoking a gun on a math assignment, then bring in Jack Bauer and put him on the clock. If you're a minority kid, say in Parkland, Florida, you can threaten to shoot up your school and no one will say anything. Under the guise of racial equity, schools are moving to remove disciplinary consequences for certain students and take discretion away from law enforcement in the process. Neither are teachers immune from the imposition of leftist orthodoxy. Just ask the California teacher put on administrative leave for hazarding a thoughtful discussion with her class about the politics of protests ahead of the walkout. With the politics being pushed on their kids, now is a good time for more parents to wake up and walk into their kids' schools for a healthy stop, look, and listen. Dan Proft here, and you're invited to join me at the Judson University World Leaders Forum on April 19th. This year, the forum features former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich and former Governor of Vermont Howard Dean. The topic of this year's forum, a bipartisan conversation about leadership in divided times. The World Leaders Forum features two events, a community event held at Judson University in Elgin at 2 p.m. on April 19th, to hear from both Newt Gingrich and Howard Dean before a Q&A session. Then at 5 p.m. that evening, the World Leaders Forum continues at the Hilton Chicago Hotel at a signature VIP reception featuring a photo opportunity with both Newt Gingrich and Howard Dean. A portion of the ticket is tax deductible, with proceeds funding the Judson Leadership Scholarships, innovative entrepreneurial activities, and sustaining the World Leaders Forum. I'm excited to be moderating this year's event, so join me at the Judson University World Leaders Forum with Newt Gingrich and Howard Dean. Get your tickets today at judsonu.edu/WLF. That's judsonu.edu/WLF.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and John Casson for Amy this morning, and we were talking about Chuck Todd's profound take on Good Friday, that, hey, every Friday can be a good Friday if you care a little. Dennis in Villa Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, guys. The thing I told the screener is when you have, like, the leftists and the liberals, when they look at religion and they say pretty much the leftists do is that it doesn't exist. It's a fairy tale. But when you compare the Judeo-Christian religions to Islam, they don't seem to have a problem with Islam because in their mind it's really not real. But I think subconsciously Christianity and Judaism, that is real. That's why they combat it so bad.
Yeah, okay. All right, thanks for the call, Dennis. Appreciate it. And by the way, I did post for Chuck Todd's edification, Robert Barron, Father, now Bishop Robert Barron's Word on Fire dissertation on the meaning of Easter. So if I could do a little bit of help, that was my way of making Friday good. In Chuck Todd's parlance.
Chuck Todd, what a...
Incredible. These are the people that, let's get insight from Chuck Todd on he's our national conscience, John. These people that host the Sunday talkies, these self-reverential.
Do you still watch those
types.
Things? I don't watch.
I don't.
I gave them up when Stephanopoulos, who was
Clinton Foundation donor zero.
Yeah, zero. When he didn't disclose that he was a donor, and he was doing Clinton stuff.
I will watch.
I'm done with all of you on TV. I really can't. I can't deal with it. It's just waste.
I will watch this week sometimes now because in our debate that we had a couple weeks ago, Donna Brazile complimented my boots. So now I'll listen to what Donna Brazile has to say because she complimented me.
Your boots?
My boots.
What you have on your feet?
Yes, boots. Yes. What other kind of boots would I be talking about? Boots,
I'm
my cat?
speechless.
No, just boots.
I'm speechless.
A little bit of just keeping you up. I know people wanted to know how this turned out. In our pool for March Madness, our brackets, I made a late rally, but it just wasn't going to be enough this year. Keith Conrad, our executive producer, looks to be the champion going into Championship Monday, Nova, Michigan tonight, with me finishing a distant second, frankly, and Quinn McCarthy pulling up the rear again. Quinn McCarthy, the only game he picked right was Kansas, and he just picked them all to win everything. So he had Kansas to the Final Four. That was the only team in the entire bracket he picked right. Every other team he got wrong. It's remarkable. All right, we'll have a little discussion about media since we have one of Chicago's media stars here with us this morning at 6:03.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Looking to secure a mortgage? Then you need to call Team Hochberg. Abby, millennial, purchasing a home. So her father, Sal, recommended she secure a Team Hochberg approval before speaking with a realtor. Abby naturally consulted with her friends who've never purchased a home before and applied online. Abby called her dad because the online lender wasn't responding to her emails. Sal told her to stop messing around with the online lender and call Team Hochberg, the only lender he trusted to help his daughter. We approved Abby to purchase a home, and Team Hochberg's real estate experts found Abby the perfect home. The internet's great for purchasing socks, shoes, and underpants, not mortgages. When securing a mortgage, you can either waste your time getting terrible service from online lenders, or you can call Team Hochberg at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com.
Pearl Mortgage and Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee 4358 and MLS 19186.
Every business needs great people, and the better way to find them. Something better than posting your job online and just praying for the right people to see it. ZipRecruiter revolutionized hiring. Their technology finds great candidates for you. No wonder 80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. Goodbye post and pray. Hello ZipRecruiter. The smartest way to hire.
Try it for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/talkradio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/talkradio.
Jimmy John's Freaky Fast, Freaky Fresh.
I'm calling because I saw one of your delivery persons today, and he was totally naked.
Ma'am, I sincerely want to apologize for any...
Buck naked right there on the street.
Ma'am, we're doing all we can to...
And I say it's about darn time.
I know, and I'm gonna... Wait, what?
The human body is a beautiful thing, don't you agree?
Well,
We've suffered the tyranny of clothing for way too long.
Okay, but...
So thanks, Jimmy John's, for going all natural.
Actually, ma'am, it's our meats that are all natural.
Say what now?
Our meats are all natural. Wood smoked ham, choice roast beef, real fresh turkey breast, all natural and freaky fresh.
So I don't suppose I can expect all natural delivery in the future?
No.
Darn.
5:57, a check of the roads. In for Jim this morning in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Dominic.
Starting to see more delays on the inbound side of the Ike. Brake lights at First Avenue. Then again at Oakley into the Burns Circle. 33 minutes in from Thorndale. 20 in from Manheim. Inbound Stevenson taps the brakes. Harlem to Pulaski. 38 minutes in from 355. 28 in from the Tri-State. The outbound trip incident-free. Inbound Ryan 20 minutes, 95th in. While the Bishop Ford moves well in both directions. Keep in mind in Des Plaines, you still have Rand Road closed between Minor and Elk after an overnight crash to work with. Traffic's a service of Napa. This month at Napa Auto Parts stores, the most popular lawn and garden battery is just $21.99 with exchange, or save $10 instantly on all other lawn and garden batteries. Quality parts, helpful people, that's the Napa know-how. Some exclusions apply at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Traffic answers when you need them the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast with meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Turning cloudy today, high 45. Tonight, occasional rain and drizzle, low 37. Tomorrow, periods of rain, high 44. Evening rain followed by a late night rain or snow shower in spots tomorrow night. Wind gusts of 30 miles per hour, low 27. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
It is 25 at O'Hare, the news service of Napa. This month at Napa Auto Parts stores, the most popular lawn and garden battery is just $21.99 with exchange, or save $10 instantly on all other lawn and garden batteries. Quality parts, helpful people, that's Napa know-how. Some exclusions apply at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. 5:59, here are the stories we're following this morning on AM 560. The Answer, police searching for possible victims following a car crash along Rand Road in Des Plaines. The man whose 1990 double murder conviction was overturned now accuses Chicago police detectives of corruption. Jose Masonette filed a wrongful conviction lawsuit yesterday. An investigation continues after 3 were killed in an ambulance crash over the weekend in Bellwood. Authorities are trying to determine what caused a deadly fire in Oak Park, the blaze breaking out yesterday morning inside of a condo building on South Wisconsin Avenue. Marlins blanked the Cubs 6-0 in Miami. Yesterday's game between the White Sox and Royals in KC postponed due to freezing weather. Notre Dame stunned Mississippi State to win the women's college basketball national title in Columbus. 25 now. Fox News is next. WIND Chicago News Time.
China
6.
fights back. I'm Chris Foster. Fox News. The Chinese government's going to charge Americans more to bring products into their country. More from Fox's Simon Owen in London.
Chris, China raising import duties on $3 billion worth of goods it imports from the United States, including pork, apples and sparkling wine. This after President Trump increased tariffs on Chinese steel and aluminum. The government in Beijing saying it doesn't want a trade war, but will defend its interests. Analysts say this latest move is unlikely to have a major impact, but some forecasters warn of a bigger fight to come over further tariffs announced by President Trump last month. Chris?
Simon, thanks. President Trump and the First Lady host the annual Easter egg roll at the White House today. He spent part of Easter Sunday tweeting about immigration. Fox's Rachel Sutherland's live in Washington.
Chris, in a series of tweets, President Trump said no more DACA deal, referring to protections for many immigrants brought here illegally as children. He also threatened to hit Mexico where it hurts, trade, tweeting he will stop their cash cow, NAFTA.
They're not going to help us at the border. It's a very sad thing between two countries.
The president stopping to speak to reporters as he arrived for an Easter service in Palm Beach, Florida. The president also called on Republican lawmakers to get rid of the legislative filibuster in order to pass tougher immigration laws. Chris?
Rachel Sutherland in Washington. An SUV that went off a cliff in California last week was stopped and then sped up, according to data recovered from the wreck.
Preliminary investigation indicates to us that this incident may have been an intentional act and not the result of a traffic collision.
Greg Bartz with California Highway Patrol. It happened last week. 2 women and their 6 adopted kids from Washington State are dead or presumed dead. 3 of the kids' bodies are still missing. The TV writer and producer Stephen Bochco died of cancer, 74 years old. His hit shows included Hill Street Blues, LA Law, NYPD Blue, and Doogie Howser, MD. Fox News, fair and balanced.
On AM 560, The Answer. Your opinion counts. And we want to know how you feel about the news stories we're talking about each and every day. Make sure to vote in the M13 Graphics Opinion Express poll at 560theanswer.com. Listen for today's poll question at 10:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m., and 3:30 p.m. And hear the results each evening at 5:30. It's the M13 Graphics Opinion Express poll on 560theanswer.com.
Don't forget that you can watch Chicago's Morning Answer on the Income Store live video stream every morning at 560theanswer.com.
Squirrely is a hard-working squirrel that enjoys life to the fullest, eager to take on new challenges and experiences alongside Starlet, his soulmate, and the love of his life. Read Squirrely the Squirrel and Starlet and see the world through the eyes of a newborn squirrel. You'll delight in the antics of Squirrely, Starlet, and their little family. A heartwarming adventure that teaches family values. Beautifully illustrated, a great story time read. Squirrely the Squirrel and Starlet from Larry Friend, available now at litfirepublishing.com. You will fall in love with Icy the Iceberg, the new, highly original children's book from Larry Friend. Follow Icy on his incredible journey, beginning his life as a sparkling snowflake and emerging as a beautiful blue floating iceberg. Icy the Iceberg is a joy for parents and kids alike. Experience together the fun creatures Icy encounters along his journey from snowflake to iceberg and back to snowflake. Kids will learn the complexities of the water cycle in a way they'll really enjoy. Icy the Iceberg, available now at litfirepublishing.com.
All money managers may seem pretty much the same. But while some money managers may recommend high commission investment products,
Fisher Investments avoids them. Some money managers may have hidden and layered fees. Fisher Investments never does. And while some money managers are happy to earn commissions from you, whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're structured to be on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come to us from other money managers. Talk with us and find out why so many experienced investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments, clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan, and in for Amy J this morning is John Cass of the Chicago Tribune. And John.
Yes, Dan.
The Parkland kids were out before the cameras again because CNN has 24 hours to fill, so they need them to continue holding press conferences. They're happy to oblige. David Hogg was on with Allison Camerata. But before we even get to him, this is an interesting offshoot. Some splintering going on because the kids all want their 15 minutes of celebrity, right? So you had some African-American Parkland, the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, Parkland students. They took to the podium for some recognition as well.
The Black Lives Matter movement has been addressing this topic since the murder of Trayvon Martin in 2012. Yet we have never seen this kind of support for our cause, and we surely do not feel that the lives or voices of minorities are valued as much as those of our white counterparts.
Is that right? The voices of African-American students at Parkland are not as valued as those of the white students, like, I don't know, ostensibly David Hogg and Samantha Fuentes. She's the vomitorium.
Threw up.
Yeah. And then
what were the races? I don't know
Fuentes.
what the races were of the kids that were killed. Does it matter? I don't know.
It doesn't matter to me. I mean,
neither.
Yeah, but here's a collection of the students along with one of the school board members of the Parkland High School discussing the need to elevate these voices that were assembled because they have so much to say.
I am here today with my classmates because we have been sorely underrepresented and in some cases misrepresented.
Dr. Rosalind Osgood is a school board member in Broward County. She helped these students organize and helped them get the media's attention.
And let's find means and modes of making their voice available so that they can be heard.
It is estimated that 1 in 3 police officers suffer from untreated post-traumatic stress disorder. When mentally ill police officers are invited to safeguard a traumatized student body, that becomes a recipe for disaster. Police need to stay on the perimeter of our schools. Those chosen to work at schools should receive PTSD counseling and special diversity training.
We are proud to say that we're from Douglas. We are proud to say that those who are in the front are doing a great job. But we also, as you can see, have so much to say.
Yeah, so much to say. The real problem here, John, Parkland, elsewhere, mentally ill cops. That's the real
all
problem.
Suffering from PTSD. The leap that they're making. Look, these are kids. When I was thinking back when you were 17. When I was 17, I fell in love 4 times a day at least from, different people. I did not.
Different people.
Well, I mean, like you'd see a girl, you'd fall in love with her. You see another girl, you fall. That's how.
It's such a silly heart.
Yes, it's just like light and frivolous. I remember wanting, pretending somewhat to be a socialist because there's a girl at the University of Madison, Wisconsin-Madison, where they're all socialist, and I kind of liked her.
Uh-huh.
You're not emotionally mature, okay? So the pressure, the media's putting these kids out there to use them as puppets and totems in a larger fight. And these kids, it's almost like child abuse. They're they're not doing the children justice, and they're building something in them that I think is dangerous for the kids.
Did you have so much to say and you just didn't know how to get it out when you were 17 and 18 too?
Yes, that was it.
Is that what drove you to, be the thoughtful columnist you ultimately grew into?
I think it was Henry Fielding when I was 18.
Okay.
But at 17, I was a different creature.
Well, it's interesting, the point you make. This was a point picked up by Hans Fine, who is a Lutheran pastor from Illinois. He wrote this piece in the Federalist about the Parkland kids having a lot in common with Pentecostal child preachers. It's an interesting
Joan of Arc
comparison that he made. Well, right. So that was a comparison that a New Yorker columnist, Rebecca Mead, made of Emma Gonzalez. Emma Gonzalez, a modern-day Joan of Arc. I mean, this is how unhinged. But one of the things he said, progressives may love the mystical validation that the child preachers of Parkland offer them, but it's beyond selfish and unfair to place the prophetic yoke upon the necks of teenagers. These traumatized children need our support, our wisdom, our guidance, our hard work, and are promised to do all we rightfully can to protect all children from gun violence. Above all, the students of Parkland need our prayers. The last thing they need, however, is our pulpit.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Because isn't that the heart of this thing? For all those of us, sometimes you see David Hogg, and he's threatening Laura Ingraham, saying, if you don't denounce Fox News, I will not forgive you. I mean, what is that about? That's about giving this kid a pulpit, and he's not ready for it. So he's, the head's getting too big for him, and he can't handle it.
And the adults, who are adults in name only, as it were, they're just exploiting him as a way to validate their own sense of self-righteousness.
Yes.
And David Hogg, speaking on the topic, perfect segue, was on with Allison Camerata on CNN talking about that corporate response to Laura Ingraham with respect to the tweet about David Hollige's college acceptance rate that she apologized for. Now she's taking a week off as more than a half a dozen advertisers have dropped Laura Ingraham's program. Listen to this exchange between Camerata and Hogg, and listen to it to the very end.
So listen, at our latest count, there's been 7 advertisers that have pulled out of Laura Ingraham's show after one tweet from you. I mean, it seems like you have a lot of power at the moment, and I'm just wondering how you feel about all this.
I think it's great that corporate America is standing with me and the rest of my friends, because when you come against any one of us, whether it be me or anybody else, you're coming against all of us. And I think it's important that we stand together as both corporate and civic America to take action against these people and show them that they cannot push us around, especially when all we're trying to do here is save lives. And when people try to distract, like Laura's trying to do right now, from what the real issue here is, which is gun violence in America, it's not only sad, it's just wrong. From a journalistic standpoint, I would say that she needs to be more objective and needs to stand down, because I am not the issue here. The issue needs to be gun violence in America, but what she's trying to do is to distract from that, and I hate it.
And I hate it, and I'm going to throw a tantrum. There's so much fascinating in that little 30 seconds of what he had to say.
The best part was later when he's told that he can't, the mention of the colleges that didn't accept him.
Right.
And Camerata comes on like, what kind of dumb some vulgarity came out of her mouth. Like how stupid these colleges are that they didn't accept you.
Well, you have to genuflect before your icon.
It is sad, isn't it? Are you a fan of the Twilight Zone?
I am a fan of the Twilight
old
Zone.
Twilight Zone.
Yeah, the Twilight Zone.
Because I bring up, and again, I'm not criticizing the kid. I'm criticizing, even though he's out there, it's the adults who are making him, who are using him and not protecting him.
And genuflecting before him. This is the point that I made at my little 60-second commentary.
Yes.
The last one, last week's, was the Droogs, not David Hogg and his friends. It's the people in charge of K-12 education. The Twilight Zone episode, though, you were referencing.
Yeah, it stars Billy Mumy, and it's about a little boy who had amazing powers, and such powers that he could like destroy worlds, destroy a town, turn like a Dan Proft and John Cass into
Jack in the Box.
Jack in the Boxes. It was terrifying.
You're a bad man. You're a very bad man, and you keep thinking bad thoughts about me.
Wish it into the cornfield. Please, son, wish it into the cornfield, please.
That was Allison Camerata asking him to wish it into the cornfield. Yeah, boy. Twilight Zone becomes art imitating 21st century life. Now, the flip side of that is very quietly, and thank God for the democratization of digital media, so you get stories like this you probably wouldn't get otherwise. About 75 students at Rockledge High School in Central Florida walked out of class in support of the Second Amendment on Friday. The students say they felt silenced last week when students walked out in support of gun control. I'm pro-Second Amendment, Rockledge Jr. and protest organizer Anna Delaney told a local Fox affiliate. I wouldn't mind deeper background checks, of course, but the Second Amendment will not be infringed upon. So, the other thing that's lost in this is that David Hogg and his friends represent a certain prevailing opinion, but it's not unanimous, just as it is in the larger society. In point of fact, there's other reports, too, that one faculty member at Douglas High School down there in Parkland said that many students feel like their views are not being represented, although they feel afraid to speak up and offer any countervailing opinion for fear that
they will be turned into jack-in-the-boxes by the media.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's how it works. And all the kids that step up and go out on how about the March for Life, the march against abortion?
Yes.
Are those children elevated to the Joan of Arc status by the media, by CNN? No. And the reason why is because they disagree with the position.
Correct.
So what you're seeing is children used as pawns by adults with power in the media to deconstruct the 2018 elections. That is child abuse, is it not?
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sun, then turning cloudy and chilly. It's going to be 45 tonight, or today. Tonight, occasional rain and drizzle, low 37. Again, find me on Facebook. Head on or head off on the Lamb. My wife doesn't want a head on the Lamb. I do. And now for traffic.
Things looking good this morning. Inbound side of the Kennedy, though, starting to struggle off the O'Hare extension to Cumberland. 22 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 10 in from the junction, 8 in the inbound express. On the outbound side, a minor delay on the west end, Foster to Sayre. Backing up on the inbound Ike, California into the Burns Circle. Add up 33 minutes in from Thorndale. 20 in from Manheim. Slow spots inbound Stevenson. Between Harlem and Kedzie, 42 minutes in from 355, 32 in from the Tri-State. Inbound Ryan, 22 minutes, 95th into downtown. Hang-ups begin right near the Stevenson in the local lanes. Traffic answers when you need them the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
For decades, our country has lived through the greatest jobs theft in the history of the world. Our factories were shuttered, our steel mills closed down, and our jobs were stolen away and shipped far away to other countries, some of which you've never even heard of.
And who's responsible for those lost jobs? Career politicians. Senator Joe Donnelly profited from Mexican labor, and Congressman Todd Rokita and Luke Messer, they voted to fast-track Obama's trade deals. Donnelly, Rokita, and Messer let Indiana jobs go to China and Mexico and sat on their hands. We can't trust them to bring good jobs back. Businessman Mike Braun, conservative, Christian. Mike Braun will help President Trump make America stronger than ever before.
I'm Mike Braun. I approve this message.
Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had this crazy thing happen with my eyesight.
I went back to get my contact lenses done, and my optometrist, and I'm 46, he said, "This is really weird, but your eyesight is better." I'm like, I can't believe it, but I think it's these vitamins I'm taking.
I'm a huge believer in the product. I've tried lots of stuff, and this is the only real thing that I've ever, because of all these comparisons with all the other stuff I've had, this is by far the best thing, and consistently.
We're so healthy now on the Balance of Nature. There's no words to say how well it works.
Doing good on it, really. I'm feeling my skin is softer, and I feel good.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Hi, I'm Jim Vanham with Strategic Financial Group. With the new tax law, charitable gifting will be more complicated than ever before. We're your experts in charitable gifting, and we can help you stretch your donations to worthy causes like Giant Steps. Now, with more, here's my friend Dr. Sylvia Smith.
Thanks, Jim. Giant Steps takes pride in providing a holistic and innovative approach to programming for individuals with autism. As students turn 22, government support stops and the options for programs become limited. This is why our Canopy Adult Day program needs your support to continue our mission of preparing adults with autism for a fulfilled and productive life. To donate, visit mygiantsteps.org. Again, that's mygiantsteps.org.
Thank you, Dr. Smith, for creating such a nurturing environment for young adults with autism. To find out how to stretch your contributions, please go to stgfin.com. That's stgfin.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and John Cass, 312-642 5600 turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA turnkey.pro text line. We were talking about the Parkland students and their pronouncements and the facilitation of those pronouncements by the D.C. Press Corps. Sort of a nice segue. You can twin these stories. The police-involved shooting of Stephon Clark in Sacramento that led to protests. Over the weekend, a sheriff's car struck and injured a protester attending a Saturday night vigil. Vigil's generous. For Stephon Clark, the video of the incident actually shows protesters gathering around two Sacramento County Sheriff's Department vehicles as one of the officers is calling on the loudspeaker for people to step away from his vehicles. The vehicles begin to move. A second car strikes a person to the ground and continues to drive without stopping. The injured pedestrian, who was identified as a local activist, was taken to the hospital for treatment. She was released a few hours later. So no one seriously injured, thankfully, but you can understand the tensions are high. They were made higher when Al Sharpton showed up. And here's what Al Sharpton had to say at Stephon Clark's funeral.
White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders to say this is a local issue is a main reason that many of us said no matter what, we'll be here. This is not a local issue. It's a national problem.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, it needs to be a national problem for Al Sharpton to continue to be able to flim-flam his way to a living. Shelby Steele, the great Shelby Steele, was on with Laura Ingraham, responding to what Sharpton had to say. Here's Shelby Steele.
He has a passion for black victimization. He loves it. He celebrates it. He won't let anybody escape it, because victimization is his only source of power. He has nothing else to offer, nothing to say about the economy, immigration, whatever. Nor do most people on the left have much to say about those issues. But they can sure call people racist. They can sure take positions that give them this sort of aura of innocence from the American. But I'm not a racist. I'm an innocent, good-hearted American. We're going to go and we're going to have diversity and inclusion and so forth, while they actually ignore the real problems. If you got 762 boys being shot on the south side of Chicago in 1 year, that suggests a profound, almost unheard of level of human pathology, particularly in the Western world. Well, what do they have? We will believe them again when they begin to have something meaningful to say about that circumstance.
Shelby Steele, I highly recommend his most recent book, too, Shame, by the way. But what about that? I mean, is this any different, what Al Sharpton is doing at Stephon Clark's funeral, than what the media is doing with the Parkland students, using them to validate their own self-righteousness?
Well, why can't both be true? Why can't there be concern and outrage at a young man shot by police with a cell phone in his hand and may have been shot in the back? Okay? Why can't we be angry about that and also upset over the constant slaughter of young black people and minority kids in Chicago? Particularly, I'm going back to Antonio Smith, 9 years old, who was killed on the weekend that all the activists were down in Ferguson, Missouri. And Antonio was shot to death, a little boy in the backyard, and nobody complained. Even Father Flager came out and told me, where are people? Where are people to denounce this? So why can't you have both? Because the attack on the police force or the protests on the police force are political and they get a political advantage. And the other, questioning the slaughter in Chicago streets and everywhere and other urban areas, undercuts that political force.
Yeah, where is
right?
if
maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
If the police-involved shooting in Sacramento is a national issue that requires a federal response, then 750, 800 murders, mostly of African-American young men, that doesn't require a federal response? I just want to understand what the standards are, because I don't recall Al Sharpton demanding a federal response from President Obama or even President Trump, because obviously Tiny Dancer doesn't want a federal response. I'm not saying that there should be a federal response, but I'm saying if the standard is this shooting in Sacramento is part of a national problem that demands a federal response, then how does the carnage in Chicago, and it's not just those that are murdered, it's also the thousands more that are shot and survive, but survive with catastrophic injuries thanks to advances in medical technology. How does that not merit a federal response? Where are the press conferences calling out the Democrat-controlled city of Chicago for, say, the past 100 years, and the political class in this state?
You mean the city that where they're $1 billion over again in underfunding in terms of their debts in the city of Chicago's public schools, but only 1 out of every 5 kids can read at grade level? Is that yes?
That city of
Chicago. Because if you have a news conference and political action on that, then you're threatening your money. You're threatening what you're getting, which is if you have the victimization going, at least you get that.
Well, and Tiny Dancer is up for re-election, so we can't say anything untoward about him at this time until it's safe to do so.
Unless he goes to Ireland.
Wait, he's in Dublin?
That's Mayor. I used to call him Mayor Zorro. I'm going to change now. Mayor Globetrotter. He seems to go to every town except Chicago. He loves to be out of town.
Is he visiting Madigan's Castle in Dublin, or what? What's the purpose of Dublin? Is hanging out with Bono?
I would hope he would kiss the Blarney Stone.
Yeah, kiss my Blarney Stone.
Yeah,
got a Blarney Stone for you right here. Mike in Griffith, Indiana.
Yeah, I would like to know when the African American leaders in the United States here are going to request that their people comply with the lawful request of police officers on issues like stop, don't move, raise your hands, show your hands, things like that. It seems like every time they resist arrest, there's an issue. But nobody who complies with the police seems to have any problems at all, regardless of who they are.
Thanks for the call, Mike.
I don't know if that's 100% true.
Well, in the Sacramento case, they did tell the kid to stop, and he fled.
Right.
So that's a problem.
And then he turned around or didn't turn around. He had something in his hand. But I remember a mom getting shot in Chicago because she had a spatula. She was making a cake, and she ran to the door. And she was literally frosting a cake. And she was shot for that.
Nobody is above the law, including police officers.
Right.
But there is this point about if you comply with a police officer's order, it is highly unlikely you're going to be injured.
Turn on the interior dome lights of the car. Keep your hands on the wheel. Shut up and just listen to what they say.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
'Cause it's about being safe. That's what I do.
I get pulled
and
over.
I'm a white guy.
Yeah, I get pulled over all the time because I have problems following traffic laws.
Is that
And
because Jeeves is driving?
well, when he lets me drive, when I want to kind of tear it up, and yeah, 10 and 2, or like hands out the front door window and just wait for the officer to come.
But there is legitimate concern by many in the African American community
I understand.
over this.
I understand, and I understand the history
I
of
think
it.
we're adults and we can have two ideas in our brain at once.
Yeah.
The fact is, Al Sharpton et al. Don't condemn the Democratic destruction of what did the former Secretary of Education say?
William Bennett?
About the KKK and
He was talking about CPS. This is 30 years ago, and what's changed to this description, that the Ku Klux Klan could not design a system more destructive to minority children than CPS. So 30 years later, all Bill Bennett's words have done is be proven right for a couple more generations. Jay in Lowell, Indiana.
Yes, sir. Hello. I have an answer to your question of why we can't have two thoughts and be outraged at both thoughts at the same time. Because the one of the little 9-year-old boy getting shot, it doesn't push their political agenda of, those cops are racist and everything like that. It's being done by poor kid was probably obviously an innocent victim, I'm going to guess. I'm sure we're all going to figure the same thing. He was innocent. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time. But he was also probably shot by another black guy. So it doesn't push their political.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Jay. Got the point. Mike on the north side.
Good morning. This is just another case of MFO, manufactured fake outrage. The Democrats are moving on. They forgot about Black Lives Matter. They forgot about the Me Too movement. They forgot about the Dreamers. So now they're throwing porn stars and high school kids trying to get your outrage. You got to vote this way. Well, you know what? Maybe these people ought to get a little religion instead of the statism that is their de facto religion. I'm outraged. If you're not outraged, something's wrong with you. Just let me go to work and pay my taxes and leave me and my family alone. We don't need you telling us how to live our lives.
Thanks for the call, Mike. Coming up at 6:36, the liberal echo chamber doesn't want any competition in the media. We'll discuss, but now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
28 degrees, clear skies in Chicago. $3 billion worth of American products will be subject to a 25% tax increase in China today. The tariffs China adding are a retaliation ahead of tariffs President Trump will slap on $50 to $60 billion worth of Chinese imports this week. A falling Chinese space station no longer a threat to the nations of the world, as Chinese space officials and others say that space lab entered the Earth's atmosphere and mostly burned up over the South Pacific. Rescue workers in Los Angeles are searching for a 13-year-old boy who fell into a drainage pipe. The boy fell into a 4-foot-wide pipe that connects with a citywide drainage system. Crews working through the night, tracking all the outlets where the drains empty into the Los Angeles River. Oil prices are up this morning. Industry analysts say the decrease in U.S. drilling and the possibility of sanctions against Iran are driving down prices. Former Veterans Affairs Secretary David Shulkin says he wouldn't resign his post as VA Secretary, as he was committed to seeing the job through.
I came to run the Department of Veteran Affairs because I'm committed to veterans, and I'm committed to fighting for them.
Speaking on CNN, Shulkin says he thought he always had a good relationship with the president and felt political appointees were much more aggressive in trying to privatize the VA than he was willing to. For the first time in modern history, London's murder rate is higher than New York City's. It's thanks to a rash of stabbings that left 15 dead in February, one more than in the Big Apple. That trend continued into March. Both cities have similar populations. Last year, London had half the murders of New York. while New York's murder rate has fallen since the 1990s, London's is spiking by over 40% per year over the past 3 years. Police are searching for possible victims following a car crash in Des Plaines along Rand Road this morning. A man whose 1990 double murder conviction was overturned is accusing Chicago police of corruption. An investigation is underway after 3 were killed in an ambulance crash over the weekend in Bellwood. Cubs fall to the Marlins, 6-0 in Miami. They take on the Reds early this evening. Yesterday's game between the White Sox and Royals postponed due to freezing weather. Sox open up a set with the Blue Jays next. The news, a service of Napa this month at Napa Auto Parts stores. The most popular lawn and garden battery is just $21.99 with exchange. Or save $10 instantly on all other lawn and garden batteries. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how. Some exclusions apply at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Stop by a Subway restaurant for the new double meat signature wraps for just $6.99 each. Prices may vary. Additional charge for extras plus applicable tax. Double meat based on average 6-inch sub.
People have long associated the Ozinga name with concrete, but truth be told, Ozinga has always been on a quest to create a better world. We want to help you build your business so you can provide for your family, create better jobs, and build your community. It's why we constantly engineer better concrete, haul raw materials, and supply cleaner fuel. Together, we can positively impact the places where we live, work, and play throughout the Chicagoland area. To learn more, go to ozinga.com. That's OZINGA.com.
So, you're a truck driver, a clutch cowboy, a wrangler of the road. At Ozinga, you are exactly who we need. Concrete truck drivers. People who aren't afraid of a little adventure and hard work. If you're tired of monotony and are looking to build something that matters, then come build with us. At Ozinga, we are building our families, our communities, and our country. Apply online today at ozinga.com. That's OZINGA.com.
Dan Proft here, and I'm here with my guy, Ryan Kelly, at thehomeloanexpert.com. Ryan, one of the things I like about you, you're a hustler, you're a go-getter. Is it really true that you and your team will drive anywhere in Chicagoland so that your clients don't have to sit in the notorious Chicagoland traffic?
Oh, you better believe it. A mortgage is just too big of an investment, too big of a product to be done on an app or maybe through email only. And I feel that it's very important to at least get together with our clients for the application process. Meaning, if you're looking to refinance or buy a home, give us a call, 773-770-4727. That's 770-4727. Or you can always apply online at thehomeloanexpert.com. We'll gather some information. I will work you up your options, call you back. We'll review your options, compare where you are, and compare the new loan. If you say, hey, this is a great fit in what I'm looking for, I'll come out and I'll meet you at your home or office. No one does that. Customer service, no one can match. Thehomeloanexpert.com. The Home Loan Expert LLC, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee.
6:37, a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Dominic Fortini.
CTA Red Line trains this morning standing near Cermak with some police activity, and Des Plaines Rand Road shut down between Elk and the Tri-State because of an overnight crash. Filling in on our area expressways, inbound Eden's now 24 minutes late Cook into the junction, while the inbound Kennedy hits the brakes off the O'Hare extension to Lawrence. That again right near Chicago, 26 minutes in from O'Hare, 12 in from Montrose, 10 in the inbound Express. Double-digit delays now on the inbound Ike, 39 minutes from Thorndale into the Burns Circle. Delays begin in Independence. Inbound Stevenson slows at Harlem, while the inbound Ryan tightens up right near the Stevenson. Traffic's a service of Mederma. Mederma's multi-purpose quick dry oil is preferred over bio oil because it absorbs faster and more completely. Mederma quick dry oil helps improve the look of skin, scars, and stretch marks with nourishing botanicals. Visit Mederma.com to find out more. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Some sun today, then turning cloudy and chilly, high 45. Occasional rain and drizzle, low of 37 overnight. 23 at O'Hare, 28 along the lakefront. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy. With our friend John Cass sitting in with us this morning on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Know with Wealth Management Group, hosted by Craig Bolanos. Heard Sunday mornings at 10.
Some call me the sage from South Central. Others call me the czar of common sense. But you can call me Larry Elder. And you're invited to join me tonight, starting at 7, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning is Chicago Tribune columnist John Cass. And, John, you're a member of the media.
Have been for 30 years and more.
The only conservative columnist allowed to offer his opinion in Chicago.
I don't know about allow, but I feel often like I'm standing on a cookie, crumbling in a sea of liberal milk.
Wow. It's a great visual.
Where am I going to?
This is why you're the page 2 columnist.
Well, because I had to come up for that.
Yeah, it's a great
Come up
simile.
with that for you.
Yeah, that's very nice. I like that. Sinclair, you know Sinclair, John.
I know of them.
Yeah, you know of them. I mean, they've, among other things, bought the Tribune's radio and TV properties.
The Tribune is separate from the
Chicago Tribune, the newspaper.
Chicago, yes, and people are conflating that for reasons I don't really
Yeah.
want to even get into or understand. But the Tribune newspaper does not and has not for a while owned the stations that are being sold.
Right. It's so radio and TV separate from the newspaper.
Correct.
Right. Okay. Well, Sinclair has about 200 TV stations, local affiliates around the country. And there's a suggestion that they're creating or attempting to create a certain echo chamber that is more of a center-right perspective. And this, of course, has alerted the D.C. press corps, who don't want their big government news echo chamber interrupted. And so here's a little mashup that they did to lampoon, for the purposes of trying to lampoon or expose Sinclair and their network affiliates, reading from the same script as it pertains to the kind of news coverage they're going to offer in the era of Trump.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest
responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about the troubling trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
Plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish the same fake stories without checking facts first.
You get the idea.
It's devastating. Devastating.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Is that devastating? Does that trouble you? Take your calls and texts. John, are you serious that that's devastating?
Yes, I do. I think what you have to see on the video is screen after screen, and so on and so on and so on.
Yeah.
All these anchors reading the same script. It is, I think it is a remarkable piece of work done by the, who did it? The BuzzFeed people? Somebody.
Yeah,
did that.
Deadspin, actually.
Deadspin, right? And even though some of the other things they publish are questionable at best, I thought it was interesting. No?
Here's why you're wrong.
Interesting is not wrong.
Well, you said that you find it devastating.
Devastating for those stations, yeah.
No. I don't think it's devastating at all, and here's why. What they're doing is repeating their statement of principles, essentially. So you have, perhaps at the corporate level, you have this directive that this is going to be our value proposition as a newscast, as a news outlet. We find these stories like CNN and all the stories that CNN has had to claw back troubling, anonymous sources, erroneously reported information. We find that troubling. We find the media in D.C. more interested in extending a narrative than they are reporting the facts, and so we're going to provide news differently, a different angle of incidents, different stories. And ultimately, it will be the content of these network affiliate newscasts that will will tell the story, if you will, and not their statement of principles. The idea that they are sharing a statement of principles across all of their platforms, all of their outlets, so what? What's wrong with that? That's called unity of mission statement, isn't it?
Okay, I'll give you that. I suggest that, first of all, if you want news and analysis, if you go to broadcast, particularly television, I think you're making a mistake and you're wasting your time.
Well, that's true, but
I would also.
Why is network affiliate news dying? What do you think?
There's a publication I read often. It's called The American Conservative.
Okay.
And in it, they have a story by Telly Davidson. You can find it online, AmericanConservative.com, giving up the ghost of objective journalism. And in this piece, Davidson argues objective journalism was as much a marketing tool as anything else.
Mm-hmm.
It took off not because news neutrality was always enshrined in American journalistic ethics, but because of how rare it actually was. What the left calls objective is not objective. What the left calls middle of the road is CNN putting David Hogg on the air day after day after day, right? That is not objective.
Well, I think
so this is a market response to that, just like Fox News is.
Right, and so the criticism, it seems, the implicit criticism in the Deadspin piece is not about echo chambers, it's about the content reverberating through them. We don't want a conservative or center-right echo chamber. Only leftist echo chambers are to be tolerated or indulged. And here's the other thing that the columnist, that column you're referring to, what he's saying is there's no such thing as objective journalism because there's no such thing as the perfectly objective human being. Journalists are not superhuman beings. In fact, in most cases, they need to go a pace to get to human being. But
the two people speaking in your ear right now are evidence of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
But so stop pretending that you're perfectly objective and that what you believe, your worldview, doesn't influence the stories you choose to report and how you choose to report them. Of course it does. And so be transparent about it. That's the way. Have enough respect for your readers to be transparent, and they're intelligent enough that they can factor that into the content that you provide. And then the content, your work product, will be the legacy and be the basis on which you're judged, not who you say you are, what you provide.
That's true, okay? But what concerns me is that in the modern climate, the pursuit of clicks, just like the pursuit of advertising and the pursuit of listeners, tends to have people go to the extremes, a louder and more strident voice every day to get more, eyeballs on or more listeners. And you can do, if you really want a lot of listeners or eyeballs, you can do stuff that I would never even touch, in journalism. I would never do it. And I see people doing it now.
Yeah.
Like sucking up to the kids, writing stories about how wonderful they are, mocking Melania Trump for what? Not rejecting her husband publicly. These are things that people do when they want clicks in journalism or radio or TV, and that kind of worries me.
Well,
it does, because the central issue is that, and Davidson, he makes this piece in the American Spectator, American Conservative. Obama, the Tea Party, Bernie Sanders, Antifa, Trump, if they've taught us one thing over the past decade, it isn't just that the mythical center will no longer hold. It is that there may no longer be a center for those of us to hold on to. In that sense, the Republic is somewhat troubled, and it concerns me.
I think the end was not any of those things that he mentioned. I think the end of that, and the end of hope, if you will, was the news that Snoop Dogg is going to host the new edition of Joker's Wild. I think that's one of the signs. That's one of the four horsemen, John.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
All right.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Don't tell me Jack Barry's not rolling in his grave.
It's me. Okay, some sun, then turning cloudy and chilly, high of 45. Tonight, low of 37 with occasional rain and drizzle. Now, Dominic with the traffic.
Des Plaines Rand Road shut down between Minor and Elk with a crash. Also, CTA Red Line trains standing near Cermak because of police activity. Red Line subway trains have been rerouted to the elevated lines. Fullerton to Cermak with that police activity. Starting to slow up on the inbound Edens, a tad more. 2 into the junction. Inbound Kennedy, 30 minutes in from O'Hare, 14 in from Montrose, 13 in the inbound Express. Watch for hangups of the double-digit variety on the inbound Ike between Laramie and the Burns Circle, 43 minutes in from Thorndale. Inbound Stevenson slows Harlem to Kedzie, 46 minutes in from 355. A few more delays on the inbound Ryan now with slowdowns beginning right near the Stevenson, 25 minutes, 95th in. And watch for brake lights inbound Bishop Ford near King Drive. Traffic answers when you need them the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
I'm Keith Peters in for Lou Dobbs. Walmart reportedly eyes a deal with Insure Humana. The latest economic reports. Those stories next.
Hi, this is Jack from Banyan Hill. You might have heard about that $34.6 billion that's expected to be doled out in what we call freedom checks. Huge checks that are changing people's lives from coast to coast. People like Sean from Pittsburgh. In fact, he's on the phone right now. Sean, you there?
Yes, I am, Jack.
Sean, let me ask you, how do you like getting these massive checks in your mailbox every month?
Well, Jack, we used to put stuff on credit cards living paycheck to paycheck. But now, after we started collecting a specific kind of freedom check, I have to say, life's a lot more fun.
I bet it is. In fact, getting massive freedom checks is fun no matter who you are. And with $34.6 billion expected to be paid out in private, non-government money starting as early as May 1st, now's the time to stake your claim on some cash. To get all the details, go to www.freedomchecks126.com before the May 1st deadline. That's www.freedomchecks126.com.
Economic reports this week include the latest data on construction spending, manufacturing, and services from the PMI and ISM index reports, and a jobs report at the end of the week. Walmart may be looking to dive deeper into the rapidly evolving healthcare market by acquiring the Insure Humana. According to the Wall Street Journal, the retail giant is in early talks with Humana, a major provider of Medicare Advantage coverage for people ages 65 and older. The Journal says the companies are discussing options, including an acquisition. The New York Stock Exchange is in advanced talks to buy the Chicago Stock Exchange, according to the Chicago Tribune. The paper says the deal valued at $50 to $100 million could be announced as early as this week, but cautions that no final agreement has been reached. Please join us for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
It's Dan Proft, and I'm excited to tell you about the Dangerous Camp for boys and over 20 other summer camps from Northridge Prep. What's Dangerous Camp? It's a camp designed to get your boys off their iPads, iPhones, and video games this summer. It's dangerously fun, not unsafe. They throw water balloons, play games, and learn the meaning of outdoor adventure. As a listener to the morning show, you've heard me talk about Northridge Prep, the all-boys school in Niles that instills the traditional values you hold as parents. Their summer programs for boys in grades 1 through 8 combine fun, adventure, and character growth. You won't find camps like this anywhere else. A few camps caught my eye, like basketball camps led by a former NCAA Division I coach and varsity players, Battles of the Civil War, Bugs and Botany, Intro to Musical Improv, even a robotics camp where campers learn to build, pilot, and code their own robots. Get your son off the couch and into the outdoors. You can learn more and register online at northridgeprep.org. That's northridgeprep.org.
Men, are you tired of those daily blue enhancement pills that take days, weeks, or months to work, if they ever work at all? Listen up. Now you can take Red, the new natural male empowerment pill that works on demand. Even your partner will notice the difference the very first time you use it. To prove Red won't disappoint like the others, you're invited to participate in our nationwide I Take Red Partner Reaction Guarantee Trial. We're seeking participants for this nationwide trial, not only to prove it works the very first time you try it. We guarantee your partner will also notice the difference. Forget those slow-acting blue pills and join those who proudly take red. Over 50,000 pills have already been claimed and supplies are limited. So to ensure your participation in this free nationwide trial, you must call now.
Superior Virility on demand. You only need to take red once to see what all the fuss is about. Call immediately to participate in our free nationwide trial. Call 800-957-6390. 800-957-6390. Be one of thousands to proudly say, I take red. 800-957-6390.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I was surprised at myself how much energy I had, and I'm doing 2 jobs, running around like a maniac, and I was able to handle it. Really, I'm like, wow, this stuff is really good. So, more than anything else, it just gave me the extra energy and the well-being, feeling of well-being that I don't think I would have without it.
Well, I take it every day, and I feel great. And my wife looks at me and says, how come you never get sick? And I do. It's because I take the fruits and veggies.
I just feel a lot better. My life is turning around. Everything is working for me.
It just helps me feel good. I just think the products are wonderful, and I take them every day. I just like it. It works.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Amanda Zanger, owner of Black Industrial and Safety Supply in Hammond, Indiana, and a business customer of Signature Bank. Prior to owning my own business, I worked for a major financial institution. So when it came time to finance the acquisition of Black, I approached a big bank, only to receive a solid no. That's when Signature Bank stepped in. With Signature Bank, the process was different. Signature provided creative financing options that enabled me to purchase Black and continue to grow the business. Thanks to Signature Bank, Black Industrial is able to continue serving Fortune 500 industry fabricators and contractors with tools and safety supplies as we have since 1893.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Shoot Point Blank is Chicago's leading shooting range and firearms store. Featuring 20 climate-controlled shooting lanes, complete retail store, and firearm education classes for all experience levels. Whether you're a new or expert shooter, now you can experience the Shoot Point Blank difference and see for yourself why so many people are talking about Shoot Point Blank.
I can tell you, I was impressed as soon as I walked through the door. The employees were really helpful, very patient, and knowledgeable, too.
My wife and I had a wonderful experience. We felt very comfortable and informed.
Brett was very friendly and respectful, and he answered all my questions. Because I'm new to pistols, I'm grateful he was patient and helped me decide what to buy for my new firearm.
For a huge selection of new and used firearms, ammo, and state-of-the-art indoor shooting range, visit them in Hodgkins, Mokina, Naperville, or Merrillville. Or check out shootpointblank.com. Experience the difference. Shoot Point Blank.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity for Upstream-Ideas.com. The main thing we learned from the 3,000-plus school walkouts that occurred and those already being planned for April 20 is who's in charge of K-12 education in America. And that should frighten you more than your average 18-year-old with a rifle or a violent video game. Those pillaging America's schools like Malcolm McDowell and his droogs in A Clockwork Orange are in charge of our schools, not attending them. It's zero tolerance on the one hand and tolerance of everything, including thuggery, on the other. If you're a white kid who scrawls the square root sign evoking a gun on a math assignment, then bring in Jack Bauer and put him on the clock. If you're a minority kid, say in Parkland, Florida, you can threaten to shoot up your school and no one will say anything. Under the guise of racial equity, schools are moving to remove disciplinary consequences for certain students and take discretion away from law enforcement in the process. Neither are teachers immune from the imposition of leftist orthodoxy. Just ask the California teacher put on administrative leave for hazarding a thoughtful discussion with her class about the politics of protests ahead of the walkout. With the politics being pushed on their kids, now is a good time for more parents to wake up and walk into their kids' schools for a healthy stop, look, and listen.
Are you stuck in a bad home mortgage? Well, join the club that has about 10 million other American families. But I may be able to help you. My name is Lou Bridges. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Lou Bridges & Associates. We've been helping distressed homeowners like you for over 8 years now. Give us a call. We provide free consultations. I guarantee you it will not be a sales pitch. We will give you our honest legal analysis, counsel, recommendations, and advice regarding your options.
We are experts in doing loan modifications successfully. We know the regs. We understand the process.
Most importantly, we don't take no for an answer. We fight. We are prepared, and we win. We save houses. We make houses affordable. So if you want to keep your house affordable, contact us.
Go to bridgeslaw.net or call 224-513-1231. That's 224-513-1231.
Remember, people, never give up the land. Fight for truth and justice. You do that, I guarantee you'll never be alone in this country.
AM 560, The Answer.
Well, a little outfield, yeah. Dan and John Cass in for Amy J this morning, and look at this. The Chicago Big Government Press Corps has just realized the forces of supply and demand apply to real estate. This is from Cranes, our anti-business magazine, and the Chicago Tribune, who supports the politicians that have prompted the exodus, are now documenting it to feel good about themselves. We'll ask John Cass to reply to that and answer the question, is Tiny Dancer vulnerable in February to Gary McCarthy or Paul Vallis or someone else? But now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
3 are killed in an ambulance crash in Bellwood. A woman stabbed on a CTA bus, and police are investigating. 1 killed in an Oak Park fire. Marlins blanked the Cubs to split that series. Sox and Blue Jays later today. More Dan and Amy after Fox, WIND, Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
President Trump says our country is being stolen. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. He's tweeting about Mexico and immigration again this morning. Let's go right to D.C. and Fox's Rachel Sutherland.
Chris, President Trump says DACA is dead, pointing the finger at Democrats on Twitter as well as the Mexican government. The president says Mexico has the absolute power to stop caravans of people at the northern border, apparently referring to about 1,000 migrants traveling through Mexico towards the U.S., first reported by BuzzFeed. President Trump tweeting, must build wall and secure our borders with proper border legislation. Democrats want no borders, hence drugs and crime. The president also called on Congress to get rid of the legislative filibuster by using the so-called nuclear option in order to pass tough border legislation. Chris.
Rachel, thanks. China has announced new tariffs on some American meat, fruit, and other products. It's in response to American tariffs on imported steel and aluminum and other tariffs being proposed on Chinese products in particular. An out-of-control Chinese space station has crashed back into the Earth's atmosphere, burning up over the ocean, we're told. More live from Fox's Simon Owen in London.
Chris, Chinese space authorities saying Tiangong-1 re-entered the atmosphere over the central South Pacific and mostly burned up, with anything left over falling into the ocean. The station was the size of a bus and weighed 8 tons, making it an unusually large piece of space junk. China hasn't admitted losing control of the station, but Western experts like Brad Tucker at Australian National University say the clues are there.
You can never officially say, but the fact is it was clearly measured to be tumbling, and there's no reason to tumble it.
China says it's been open and transparent with authorities. Chris?
Simon, there's a search in Los Angeles in a sewer for a 13-year-old boy who fell through a broken plank into a drainage pipe. Jesse Hernandez was playing with cousins at an abandoned maintenance building at Griffith Park. Fox News, fair and balanced.
.28 degrees. Skies are mostly clear this early morning. Winds west-northwest at 4 miles an hour, 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Police are searching for possible victims following a car crash in northwest suburban Des Plaines. Authorities say that accident happened early this morning when a vehicle traveling on Rand Road hit a pole between Route 14 and Elk Boulevard. A man whose 1990 double murder conviction was overturned is now accusing Chicago police detectives of corruption. Jose Masonette filed a wrongful conviction lawsuit yesterday, claiming detectives coerced him into confessing as payback for failing to pay kickbacks to protect his drug business. An investigation is underway after 3 were killed in an ambulance crash in Bellwood. Authorities say the ambulance was transporting Larry Marshall home from dialysis Saturday when the driver lost control and slammed into a building near 28th Avenue and Washington Boulevard. No one is in custody after a woman was stabbed on a CTA bus that was traveling along Chicago's Magnificent Mile. Police say the victim was sitting on the bus last night in the 600 block of Michigan Avenue when someone seated behind her stabbed her with an unknown object inside of a glove. The attacker then exited the bus and walked south on Michigan Avenue. Authorities are trying to determine what caused a deadly fire in Oak Park. The blaze broke out yesterday morning inside of a condo building in the 300 block of South Wisconsin Avenue. There's another outbreak at the state's Veterans Home in Quincy. The Illinois Department of Public Health announcing late Friday afternoon that a number of people living at the home have come down with a stomach bug. They suspect norovirus, and so far 24 vets have become sick. Chicago sports, Marlins blank the Cubs 6-0 in Miami. Cubs take on the Reds early this evening if they get that ball game in at the Great American Ballpark. Yesterday's Sox and Royals game postponed due to freezing weather. Sox open up a 3-game set with the Blue Jays. Tonight, Bulls beat the Wizards 113-94. Table set for the men's NCAA basketball championship tonight. Villanova taking on Michigan. Notre Dame stuns Mississippi State to win the women's national championship in Columbus. The news, a service of Accountemps. Finding highly skilled accounting and finance professionals can be a challenge. Accountemps can help. With Accountemps' extensive network of accounting and finance contractors, you can be sure to find the right person for your exact hiring needs. Visit Accountemps.com to learn more. Accountemps, a Robert Half company. WIND News Time is 7:04. Time for a dry basement. And for a dry basement and a healthy home, it's time to call Permaseal at 800-421-SEAL. Check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity reacts to the Russia investigation.
The House Intel Committee have now ended their 14-month phase of this Russian investigation. It confirms that the media and Democrats have been flat out lying to every American for over a year with their breathless, hysterical reporting.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
All money managers may seem pretty much the same. But while some money managers may recommend high commission investment products, Fisher Investments avoids them. Some money managers may have hidden and layered fees. Fisher Investments never does. And while some money managers are happy to earn commissions from you, whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're structured to be on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come to us from other money managers. Talk with us and find out why so many experienced investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments, clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
7:06, a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. In for Jim, here's Dominic.
As you mentioned in your news, Rand Road shut down between Minor and Elk because of an overnight crash. Red Line train standing near Cermak with police activity. They've also been rerouted to those elevated tracks because of police activity. Inbound Eden's 20 minutes. Lake Cook to the junction, while the inbound Kennedy sits at 30 minutes in from O'Hare, 18 in from Montrose, 17 in the inbound Express. Outbound slowing on the west end, Montrose to Sayre. Delays thickening up on the inbound Ike, 43 minutes in from Thorndale. Outbound Trip at 33. Inbound Stevenson heavy from Harlem to Kedzie, while the inbound Ryan backs up near the Stevenson in the local lanes, 28 minutes, 95th into downtown. And some heavier traffic on the inbound Bishop Ford between 103rd and the Ryan. Traffic answers when you need them the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today some sun, then turning cloudy. High 45. Tonight occasional rain and drizzle, low 37. Breezy and chilly with periods of rain tomorrow, high 44. Then rain or snow showers in spots late tomorrow night, low 27. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
21 at O'Hare. Next news, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. with our friend John Cass sitting in with us this morning on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Empowered Investing, the show dedicated to investors. Saturdays at noon on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan, and in for Amy J. This morning is the great Chicago Tribune columnist John Cass. And John,
I prefer the leggy,
right? Lovely, flowing locks. Okay, and you may have to take me to task on this one, but this is really fun. You have Chicago's anti-business, pro-rent-seeking business journal, Crain's, that has discovered the laws of supply and demand apply to residential home prices. How about that? Who knew? Listen to this breathless reporting by one Dennis Rodkin at Chicago Business, Crane Chicago Business, whatever it's called, as if it matters. Same old, same old. If he finds that, lo and behold, we've reported here in great specificity over the last several years, and I was doing it several years before that, but Chicago finished dead last among the 20 largest U.S. cities in 2017 in terms of home price bumps, with a 2.6% rise compared to, say, Seattle, 12.5%, Vegas, 11%, so on and so forth. The local market here, Chicago, also has the largest number of underwater homes, more than 135,000 Chicago area homes underwater, more than the total in New York and L.A. combined, just as we have more murders than New York and L.A. combined at, 1/4 of the population. Oh, okay. It sounds to me like the left and surrender Republicans are getting exactly the policy environment that they so desired. Congratulations. Why is Chicago lagging so badly? Rodkin asked. Economists, because you'd have to consult one to figure this out.
Some say.
Yeah, exactly. And others say the key problem is exceptionally slow employment growth, tangled with the two issues most Illinois residents are familiar with, population losses and high taxes. A way to address the symptoms. You need to go to an economist for that. There's a direct correlation in the declining demand for homes, says Michael Hicks, a Ball State University econ professor.
You mean you can't buy a home on $15 an hour or 12 or 10?
Or with a 5% effective property tax rate as a percentage of home value, you wouldn't want to. It doesn't take very much outmigration or static population growth to stall home price growth, says this econ professor. Yeah, you don't say. Boy, oh boy. Well, the Chicago Tribune editorial board is documenting this. Well, Illinois exodus, flight of the expats. Yeah. Giving a couple of examples here to really drive this home, because they're on top of it too, don't you know? They screech about good government, support the same government. But here they are. They're on your side, Bruce Carpenter and his wife from Naperville, formerly of Naperville. They decided to move out of Illinois because of one number, $52,000. That's roughly how much they saved in college tuition costs by turning down engineering school for their son at U of I and moving south. They bought a larger, more expensive home in Atlanta. They're paying for tuition for their son, who's now a freshman at University of South Carolina, significantly less than in-state tuition at U of I would have been, just as it's significantly less in-state tuition in all the Big Ten schools except Penn State as compared to in Illinois for U of I. And here's the thing that they say about the Carpenters, too. This is, this is classic reporting of the left, the big government left. Not only are Illinois university tuition prices high, you don't say, a state budget impasse that lasts until July tightened the screws on schools that rely heavily on state funding. Yeah, but what they don't tell you is that the state of Illinois provides twice the national average in per pupil subsidy to state universities. And so they're subsidizing higher tuition, which pushes the carpenters to leave. And they're creating, of course, dependency among these universities, the administrative level, such that they rely on the funding. They're resistant to cut. What they're more inclined to do is decry the lack of state funding and rally for the 32% income tax increase, which is what they did last year.
The Tribune did not support the 32% income tax
They
increase.
just support all the policies that prompted it.
We're going to get into that, I guess, in the next segment, but I will stand up for the editorial board on this, even though I am not a member.
Right.
Because I'm not, I'm not smart enough to do that kind of work.
Oh,
but
obviously.
I will tell you.
Yes.
I will tell you that
That's
the Tribune has stood up against the taxes, against the pension problems. You see, you are setting up. If you don't know, guys, if you don't know, gang, if you don't know Dan by now,
Gang. Are you doing a Mike Ditka?
Gang. No, I'm trying to do someone else. You have to understand Dan. He knows I'm coming up with a question after the break, and so he's seeding the ground for his position. Okay.
Is that what I'm doing?
Yes, you are.
All right. By the way, the Carpenters sold their 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house in Naperville for not much more than the purchase price 13 years earlier. That's what we call a loss, because inflation hasn't been zero for 13 years. Property taxes, however, not flat, reaching about $9,000 by the time they sold. The Hurds, Debbie and James Hurd, formerly of Homer Glen, they moved to Texas in 2016. They wrote a letter to Bruce Rauner at the time. Their property taxes in Homer Glen had risen to about $1,600 from about $1,600 when they bought their 5-bedroom home in Homer Glen in '96 to $10,000 by the time they left. They sold their house for $325,000, made little money. Value of the home didn't keep pace with property taxes. Oh, gee, that's a boy. Has anybody heard this story before?
They took a loss, is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Well, $10,000 on a $10,000 property tax bill on a house that markets for $325,000. So a little back of the envelope math. That's about 3.5 times the national average property tax rate as a percentage of home value. Golly, I can't figure out why people are leaving. This is a conundrum. This really vexes the political ruling class and the media here.
Wait a minute. I thought about leaving too. I keep telling Christian McQuarrie we should get tiny houses in Rensselaer, Indiana, under the windmills. You know, when you drive south, see the windmills, a perfect little tiny house. I could sit there, write my column from Indiana.
That sounds like
cheap whiskey and scream at the media.
That sounds like a John Mellencamp song.
Maybe.
Maybe I'll bring him out of retirement. Mike Salva and his family got out of Illinois a long time ago. First to Georgia. Just so you understand, this has been a problem that I understand the Tribune and Cranes have just discovered. It's been a problem for a while.
True. I don't know about Cranes because they have such crackerjack reporting.
There's no
but
question.
the Tribune has been on this for quite some time, as you know.
Right. I mean, supporting the purveyors of the problem.
Your
I
issue
got
is
it.
with who
I
was
got
endorsed for governor, which
governor? They endorse the big government candidate all the time. How many times did they endorse Obama? Was it 2 out of 2? Mike Salva and his family
I'm at a loss.
Mike Salva and his family got out of Illinois a long time ago. What was the grade they gave Rahm Emanuel after his first year? Mike Salva and his family got out of Illinois a long time ago, first to Georgia, then to Colorado. Property taxes on the $185,000 home he sold in Bolingbrook in the 1990s were approaching $4,000 annually. In Littleton, Colorado, where he now lives, the taxes on his $550,000 home are $3,200. He lives in Littleton. $550,000 home, property taxes $3,200, Colorado.
He's just got to live in Littleton, though.
Yeah. Oh, that's so terrible. Mountain View?
Oh, I guess, yeah.
A $500,000 house?
I'd rather sit on the back of on the porch of a 2-flat, looking out into a cinder alley at the Blue Virgins in each in each backyard and
Sure.
smoke a cigarette and drink a beer and listen to the White Sox on the radio.
Hey, look,
when I'm not listening to Dan Proft rip my paper.
Look,
okay,
I'm all
Dan.
I understand the attraction of the bungalow belt, but at what price? $4,000 on a $185,000 house in the 90s. Oh, by the way, this guy's smart. He's a nuclear engineer with an MBA in finance from University of Chicago. Brain drain associates with the Exodus, of course. He sent an email. He looked at his old house. If his old house in Bolingbrook were in Littleton, his tax bill would have been $1,800 a year when it was $4,000. That Bolingbrook house's tax bill today, currently, $7,600. So a home he sold for $185,000 back in the 90s, which I will guarantee you has not materially increased in value, probably decreased in real dollars. $7,600 tax bill, $500,000 plus home he has in Littleton where he lives, $3,200, less than half. And of course, you understand the negative multiplier of property taxes and what it does to home equity.
So how am I supposed to deal with this, okay? What am I supposed to do? Go to Littleton and be a columnist for the Denver Post, where Hickenlooper will use to run for president? I mean, what am I supposed to do? What are you telling me?
I'm just giving you...
I'm not leaving.
I'm not saying you should
staying.
leave.
I think we should stay and fight. I'm not leaving.
Okay. All right.
You want to leave? I mean, seriously, you want to go? You want to be part of the exodus out of Afghanistan?
Revolt or bolt? Revolt or bolt. So you want to revolt?
Are we going to get into it?
Well, I mean,
now or in the next segment?
No, we'll get in the next segment. Yeah. But I mean, that's the question. And there's another opportunity, by the way, in February of next year, mayor's race. This polling that was released admittedly by Gary McCarthy's campaign. Yeah. Interestingly, you know whose pollster is? This Alan Seacrest.
Yeah, somebody named John Cass wrote about it months ago.
I know, but
he's the guy who got the dead fish from Ram.
There you go.
It was actually rotting when he got it.
So it couldn't even fry it up in a pan and make Ram feel like a man.
Mackerel.
This guy reports that in a one-on-one matchup right now, Tiny Dancer and McCarthy are in a statistical dead heat. Don't really believe that, but okay. And it's not a one-on-one matchup, of course. It's a crowded field, so McCarthy has to ostensibly finish second.
So does Rahm get helped with all the candidates in the field?
Well, he doesn't get helped in the sense that he'll be forced into a runoff, and in a one-on-one matchup, he's vulnerable.
In a one-on-one matchup with Paul Vallis, Rahm Emanuel will lose the election.
This survey, if this survey's numbers are right, then I think there's a lot to what you're saying. This survey has Tiny Dancer's job performance at 32%, favorability 36%. The real number here is his reelect number is only 18%. That's even worse than Ronner's. That's how bad that is.
He's in Dublin, Mayor Globetrotter, running away from Illinois and Chicago again. I mean, every weekend he's gone. Last weekend he was in Puerto Rico shooting some footage for with Louis Gutierrez, right?
He's a citizen of the world.
And this weekend he's in Dublin. So what? He's going to be shooting footage for the 19th Ward to get those 19th Ward votes.
69% of those surveyed identified having an honest or trustworthy city government as a major problem. Oh, really? Yeah. By a 4-to-1 margin, those surveyed said they feel less safe than they did 2 years ago. Yeah.
Is that because of all the robberies in the loop?
Carjackings, shootings, right. Etc. Yeah, probably has something to do with it. And those same 69% or that same 4-to-1 margin will continue to vote for the same people.
If it's a one-on-one race with Rahm Emanuel and Paul Vallis, there will be a new mayor in Chicago. If it's McCarthy, as it stands right now, McCarthy, I don't think is going to get all the cops. And he'll drive African Americans into Rahm's lap, which is what Rahm wants.
What about other dark horse candidates, the names that have been mentioned?
Lori Lightfoot,
Bridget Gaynor, Troy Laverabie.
Yeah, there are a lot of them out there. And the difference between the last time, although I like Chewy personally, even though I don't like his politics, this time you have candidates, I think, who are going to bring it to Rahm. The only question is, which one can run the city on day one? That's what you have to ask yourself. Because Rahm sells Here's what Rom sells. I know you hate me. Everybody hates me. My mom hated me. Everybody I know hates me.
What if when he
but I'm competent?
What happens when he puts on the cardigan sweater and says, "I have sinned and I'm going to be better"?
The soft fuzzy sweater,
Mhm.
the pink one,
Yeah.
like the pink Angora sweater he wore in his last. Didn't you want to hug him then?
you-
It's like, Rom, come on,
Right.
man.
You'll
Sit
fall
up on
in
my
love with
lap.
him all over again.
Sit up on my lap. Let me
Uh-huh.
give you a hug, baby.
So what you're saying is that maybe by the spring, this time next year, the spring of next year, you're going to have a Ronner and a Rom with a lot more quality time to spend at their wine club.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Folks, when shopping for a home mortgage, how much is great service, low closing costs, and competitive interest rates worth to you? At Townstone Financial, it's priceless. Hi, Barry Sterner, founder of Townstone Financial. Let's hear about the Townstone experience from one of our customers.
It was wonderful. I called Ira. This was the Monday after Thanksgiving, and he got everything done, and we were still able to close on the 15th, so basically 2.5 weeks. The day I called him, he was like, okay, I need this, and he was able to get it approved, and of course, the people I was buying the house from were concerned. Ira kept them in the loop, and they were all satisfied, and at the closing table, both real estate agents said, I want his number and his email.
Remember, nobody values your home mortgage business more than Townstone. I guarantee it, and I own the company. So call me now, Barry Sterner, at 312-896-2110. That's 312-896-2110. Or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com.
Townstone Financials, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, Illinois, mortgage licensee 6629 and NMLS 136639. Equal housing lender.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm Mark Gastineau. I played in the NFL for 10 years. I was diagnosed with CTE, with dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's. The fruits and vegetables that we take from Balance of Nature is the best thing that we could ever do. And I'm calling in now to order extra because my wife has been taking mine because she sees a difference in me. It is a wonderful thing that Balance of Nature is doing. I hear the testimonies on the radio, but I'm a testimony for myself. And the fruits and vegetables, if I don't take them every single day, my day is not going to go the same. So God bless you, and thank you for what you've done for my wife and I.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
The following is a paid political announcement.
For decades, our country has lived through the greatest jobs theft in the history of the world. Our factories were shuttered, our steel mills closed down, and our jobs were stolen away and shipped far away to other countries, some of which you've never even heard of.
And who's responsible for those lost jobs? Career politicians. Senator Joe Donnelly profited from Mexican labor, and Congressman Todd Rokita and Luke Messer, they voted to fast-track Obama's trade deals. Donnelly, Rokita, and Messer let Indiana jobs go to China and Mexico and sat on their hands. We can't trust them to bring good jobs back. Businessman Mike Braun, conservative, Christian. Mike Braun will help President Trump make America stronger than ever before.
I'm Mike Braun. I approve this message.
Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Men, are you tired of those daily blue enhancement pills that take days, weeks, or months to work, if they ever work at all? Listen up. Now you can take Red, the new natural male empowerment pill that works on demand. Even your partner will notice the difference the very first time you use it. To prove Red won't disappoint like the others, you're invited to participate in our nationwide I Take Red Partner Reaction Guarantee Trial. We're seeking participants for this nationwide trial, not only to prove it works the very first time you try it. We guarantee your partner will also notice the difference. Forget those slow-acting blue pills and join those who proudly take Red. Over 50,000 pills have already been claimed and supplies are limited. So to ensure your participation in this free nationwide trial, you must call now.
Superior Virility on Demand. You only need to take Red once to see what all the fuss is about. Call immediately to participate in our free nationwide trial. Call 800-957-6390. 800-957-6390. Be one of thousands to proudly say, I take Red. 800-957-6390.
Hey, Radioland, Ken here from Income Store. Did you know making money is like a combination lock? If you know the numbers and the proper order of the numbers, it has to open. The lock doesn't know or care if you're 8 or 80 years old. It has to open. Making money's the same way. When you know the steps and know the right order for the steps, revenue generation has to happen. As we like to say at Income Store, if you know the steps to take and you take the steps, revenue will be created. For close to a decade, we have proved to thousands of households and businesses that adding an additional revenue stream is not magic or luck. Both Forbes and Inc. praise Income Store as a can't miss when it comes to creating revenue for a home or business. If you'd like to see exactly how anyone from a teenager with more time than money to an executive with more money than time can add a revenue stream to their home or business, just open one of the 2 entry doors you'll find at incomestore.com. That's incomestore.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
John, I'm just doing this story for you. I know you're a big Anglophile. And so Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's wedding. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you've been following this closely.
Yes, every minute of it.
The price tag is projected to be in the neighborhood of $42 million. Actually, it'll be a little bit more than that. $42 million is just for the policing operation.
I thought that was just for the pie where the 24 blackbirds come flying out.
Well, the average cost of a wedding dress in the UK is about $2,100. Meghan Markle's wedding dress will not be, this is the good news, will not be anywhere near the $560,000 that has been reported. She's looking at dresses in the $70,000 to $140,000 range, which is reasonable.
She's an actress, correct?
Yeah, it's reasonable.
An actress marrying the royal family.
Yeah,
correct?
A couple of welfare queens. Yeah, that's right.
An actress.
Uh-huh.
Where only 200 years ago, they wouldn't even be buried on consecrated ground. And now look at them. The actors gaining power. Amazing.
Floral, the floral decorations estimated to cost about 100,000 pounds. Cake, they put it in the $70,000 range. I mean, this sounds very much like your wedding, I'm sure.
At Nico's Banquet Hall on 79th in Harlem.
How much was the cake?
I don't know, but it was a good cake, and I remember dropping a few hundred on the bartender to keep the bar open till 4 in the morning.
Mikos is still there.
Still there.
It's
Love
still
it.
there.
Good food.
How much was your dress?
The dress I wore?
Yeah.
I don't know. How much did you pay for yours?
I have not found that special fella. I'm still
since gender means nothing anymore, right? Exactly.
And by the way, they could do they could get an owl named Bobby. And another British wedding, an owl named Bobby was the ring bearer, and did one of those. And Bobby scared the feathers off the best man, knocked him over in point of fact, but did deliver the rings. So that'd be a nice little. Did you have any
Why not
kind
have
of
dogs do it too?
Who was your ring bearer? Did you have any kind of thing that animal from the animal kingdom? Anything fun? Innovative.
A little boy.
Okay.
Who was,
related? I hope.
Related.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Just like a little girl. Actually, we had roles at my wedding. I know it's weird. We had men wore tuxedos, women wore dresses. Boy brings the ring. Girl brings the flowers. Can you imagine that?
I can. That's wow. That's
and a priest.
Yeah.
A priest.
That must have been.
And we took a vow before God, and it's been 30 plus years. Hi, Betty. How are you? Love you.
I was going to say that had to be at least 20 years ago. That's how long ago anybody's done that. John Cass sitting in for Amy J. And coming up at 7:37, we're going to talk to Jed Babin from the Washington Times and American Spectator. But now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
21 and sunshine. President Trump busy tweeting about caravans of immigrants rolling through Mexico headed for the U.S. again this morning. The president referring to a group of around 1,100 currently in Mexico. China putting new tariffs on more than 100 American products. The tariffs that take effect today are in retaliation, they say, for tariffs President Trump plans to impose this week on $50 to $60 billion worth of Chinese imports. Jury selection begins today in Bill Cosby's retrial for sexual assault. More than 180 potential jurors have been called to show up at the Montgomery County Courthouse in a Philadelphia suburb. School is out today in Oklahoma as teachers stage a walkout. Educators are calling for increased funding and pay raises for teachers. Police are searching for possible victims following a car crash in Des Plaines this morning on Rand Road. The car hit a pole between Route 14 and Elk Boulevard. A man whose 1990 double murder conviction was overturned is accusing Chicago police detectives of corruption. Jose Masonette filed a wrongful conviction lawsuit yesterday, claiming detectives coerced him into confessing. It was payback, he says, for failing to pay kickbacks to protect his drug business. Authorities are trying to determine what caused a deadly fire in Oak Park, blaze breaking out yesterday morning inside of a condo building on South Wisconsin Avenue. And the creator of the augmented reality game Pokemon Go settling with attendees at last year's disastrous festival in Grant Park. Niantic Labs organized Pokemon Go Fest to celebrate the game's first year, but spotty cell phone coverage and overwhelmed servers turned it into one massive headache. The company has reportedly reached a $1.5 million settlement. A website goes up in May for those looking to get some of their money back. Dylan Peters' 6 shutout innings of work. Marlins blank the Cubs 6-0 in Miami. Cubs are in Cincinnati next. White Sox and Royals frozen out. Makeup date April 28th. Sox take on the Blue Jays next. The news service of Accountemps. When you could use help closing your books and need additional staff, it is time to call Accountemps. They can provide you with bookkeepers and other accounting and finance professionals on a temporary or project basis. And fast. Call today Accountemps, a Robert Half company. 7:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The DACA deadline came and went. Big deal.
The Joe Walsh Show.
Congress isn't capable of doing much, and I really don't want Congress doing anything when it comes to DACA. Here's my deal, guys. Build the wall, secure the border. Nobody should be in this country illegally. That's not complicated. Build the wall, secure the border. Nobody should be in America illegally. There's my comprehensive immigration reform.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Get your truly free credit score and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma. Download the Credit Karma app today. Credit Karma. Get knowing.
Shoot Point Blank is Chicago's leading shooting range and firearms store. Featuring 20 climate-controlled shooting lanes, complete retail store, and firearm education classes for all experience levels. Whether you're a new or expert shooter, now you can experience the Shoot Point Blank difference and see for yourself why so many people are talking about Shoot Point Blank.
I can tell you, I was impressed as soon as I walked through the door. The employees were really helpful, very patient, and knowledgeable, too.
My wife and I had a wonderful experience. We felt very comfortable and informed.
Brett was very friendly and respectful, and he answered all my questions. Because I'm new to pistols, I'm grateful he was patient and helped me decide what to buy for my new firearm.
For a huge selection of new and used firearms, ammo, and state-of-the-art indoor shooting range, visit them in Hodgkins, Mokina, Naperville, or Merrillville. Or check out shootpointblank.com. Experience the difference. Shoot Point Blank.
7:36 and a check of the roads now in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Dominic.
The inbound side of the Kennedy filling in this morning. Irving Park to the Burns Circle, a half hour in from O'Hare. 20 in from the junction, 21 in the inbound express lanes. Outbound delays mostly on the west end between the junction and Sayre. Inbound Ike, 57 minutes now. Thorndale into the Burns Circle, 43 in from Manheim. Double-digit delays on the inbound Stevenson. Stop and go Harlem to Kedzie, 50 minutes in from 355. 40 in from the Tri-State. Also stacking up on the inbound Ryan, 32 minutes, 95th into downtown. Hang-ups begin right near 31st. Inbound Bishop Ford slows right near the Stony Island feeder, and usual delays northbound Tri-State begin right near 88. Traffic's a service of Mederma. Don't let a scar steal your spotlight. Use Mederma Advanced Scar Gel, the only once daily formulated scar care product clinically shown to reduce the appearance of scars. Visit Mederma.com to learn more about their growing family of skincare solutions. Traffic answers when you need them the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Sunshine this morning. Skies will turn cloudy later in the afternoon. Will be chilly, high of 45. currently 21. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy, with our friend John Cass sitting in this morning on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Kelly Financial Services, helping you secure your financial future today. Visit kellyfinancialservicesinc.com.
Hey, Joe Walsh here. I don't believe a word the Republicans say when it comes to government spending. I'll explain when Freedom returns at 5.
Good morning, Dan and Tribune's John Cass in for Amy this morning. And this is sort of a fun story. Hillary not getting the fees for speechifying she did once upon a time, John. She was at Rutgers over the late last week. And I don't think this is the bottom of the market for her honoraria, because you know how universities are. You know how profligate they are with other people's money. So I'd love to see what she could generate from, say, a Wall Street bank these days. But from Rutgers, only $25,000 for her speech last week. Gateway Pundit provided a nice little comparison. Snooki from Jersey Shore was paid $32,000 in 2011. So Hillary's looking up at Snooki these days when it comes to speaking fees.
Where's she going to end up, Hillary? Like
jail?
Doing a four round. She one of the 4-rounders, like in,
Yeah.
Like
Well,
on the undercard.
Well,
the Angel Guardian Gym. I mean, like, come on, Hillary.
well, if you didn't think that was,
I saw that movie. It was with Anthony Quinn.
if you didn't think
Right.
that this is
Especially for heavyweight.
this is interesting enough and satisfying enough, listen to Hillary Clinton's concern. She's very concerned about the future of the Republican Party.
Yeah.
But I do worry that what's happened to the Republican Party is that it's being held captive by a very small group of powerful forces.
Yeah.
We have seen the power of the NRA, for example.
Oh,
and
Not in the audience to clap for that line was Ayan Hirsi Ali, who was disinvited. Was she No, she was disinvited from Brandis. Was Condi Rice disinvited from Rutgers? Just disinvited to speak from Rutgers. So Condi Rice was not available to clap for Hillary there because she is not allowed to speak on campus.
Ali is a wonderful, brilliant woman. I've had the pleasure of interviewing her, and I think you have as well. And yeah, that would be something. She wouldn't waste her time.
Well, as I said, that's why Rutgers isn't going to be the bottom of the market for her speaking fees. But for speaking of those dark, shadowy forces holding the Republican Party captive, we're pleased to be joined by one now. He's Jed Babin. He is former U.S. Deputy Undersecretary of Defense, now contributor to the Washington Times and the American Spectator. Jed, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks. I guess you guys just promoted me. I didn't know I was one of those dark forces.
You never
I'm very
know.
pleased to be, but you never know.
You never know when you're going to be folded into a Hillary Clinton conspiracy theory.
I've been there for a long time. I'm one of the original parts of the vast right-wing conspiracy. So
there you go.
That's okay.
I wanted to start by asking you about the violence and now unrest in Gaza after there was a showdown between Israeli military and Palestinian protesters, which resulted in the death of 15 of those Palestinian protesters. Of course, has unleashed more protesting as well as pronouncements and denunciations from American politicians in the direction of Israel, like Bernie Sanders.
Well, it's certainly not a surprise to see that coming from Mr. Sanders and a lot of the other left. Look, these are not protesters. They're rioters. They're members of or propped up by Hamas, the terrorist group that rules the Gaza Strip, and they're put out there to create incidents. We've seen evidence already of pre-filming, rehearsing of these rock-throwing incidents and so forth, and having shots fired at them by their own people to get them on camera. This is the typical thing that Hamas and some of the other Palestinian interests do. So I don't have any sympathy for them. They're trying to push out the border from the Gaza Strip, and the Israelis are properly resisting. So this is what's going to happen from time to time, and it's constantly not – well, there's never going to be a settlement of this until all of the Arab nations come together and force a settlement on the Palestinians.
I have a question for you, Jeb. The other day, the President of the United States made this pronouncement about Syria, saying, quote, "We're knocking the hell out of ISIS. We'll be coming out of Syria like very soon. Let other people take care of it now." When a president says something like that, given what's going on the ground and what's in the area, what do you guys in the defense, the analysts, the foreign policy analysts, what do you do? How do you deal with it?
Well,
where's the first call? To Turkey to say, hey, he was just kidding? To Israel? Who do you call? You know?
Yeah. Well, you don't call anybody, John. It's a good question, but the basic point is, Mr. Trump is right, although he usually doesn't say things the way they ought to be said. The fact of the matter is, we have no national security interest in Syria. The Russians and the Iranians and the Turks have dominated that battlefield now for years, and there really is not much reason for us to stay. The only reason for us to stay is to protect the Kurdish forces, which have fought alongside our people, and to enable them to withdraw back to their homeland in northern Iraq. That's the only reason for us to be there at this point, and quite frankly, the sooner they get out and we get out, the better.
So you're saying the Kurds have to leave. They have to get out of the place they fought for. Is that what you're saying?
Well, they're only
I think
there.
They might have a different view of that.
Well, they might, but then again, we can't protect them everywhere. We can and should protect them in their homeland, but they frankly were only there because we asked them to be there. I don't think they're going to want to have any more presence in Syria than we have, and they're probably just as anxious to get out as we should be. The Kurds were there to help us fight ISIS. They've done a terrific job, as they always do. Those Kurdish fighters are pretty awesome. And the fact is, we've done the job as best we can, and pretty much we've done it, period. So there's no national security interest in the United States there to defend and justify a military presence.
How does that impact the refugee crisis? You've got hundreds of thousands in a Jordanian makeshift camp, as well as the potential for this to be resuscitated as an issue in America, right, in terms of the acceptance of Syrian refugees?
Well, I think that's going to affect it, continuously. You've seen a lot of the population, I forget the precise number, there's something like 20 or 30% of the population of Syria has already gotten out of that country,
right,
to try to avoid a almost 7-year-old war. So this is not really going to substantially affect that insofar as accepting refugees here. Quite frankly, we've done our part, and we don't need to do more. The president is right as well in looking at what's coming across the Mexican border in the next couple of days. We should not have to absorb every refugee from everywhere. And a lot of the people who are coming in from places like Mexico and El Salvador and so forth are not refugees, except in the sense of economics. They're fleeing a bad economy to try to come into our better economy, and that's no one's right. No one has a right to emigrate to the United States, period.
Speaking of that, you just alluded to it, President Trump tweeting over the weekend about immigration policy, border security, DACA. DACA is dead, he suggested. Also, he tweeted Mexico is doing very little, if not nothing, at stopping people from flowing into Mexico through their southern border and then into the U.S. They laugh at our dumb immigration laws. They must stop the big drug and people flows, or I will stop their cash cow, NAFTA, need wall, all caps, exclamation point. Is this one of the cases of the president being directionally right but not saying it properly?
Yeah, we can argue about the words, and, Mr. Trump has his own way with words, Lord knows, but he's right. The basic point here is NAFTA is a cash cow that the Mexicans and other nations have been taking advantage of us through, and, of course, they're not doing anything to stop any of the illegal immigrations coming across, and we have this 1,000-person caravan apparently coming from El Salvador, and, the Mexicans are just, holding up their hands and waving them along. There's really no reason for them to be cooperating in this, and there's certainly every reason for us to say we're not going to take these people. So one thing or another has to give, and the Mexicans are not giving at all. They're not trying at all to try to limit the immigrants coming across the United States border.
In recent, we see the news about John Bolton becoming the National Security Advisor. What do you make of it, and what do you make of his arguments about digital warfare, setting up conflicts in terms of digital warfare with some of our adversaries?
Well, I knew Mr. Bolton about 10 years ago when I was editor of Human Events, and let me tell you, he's not the devil incarnate. As I have a piece in the Wednesday Washington Times coming up to say this, I mean, Mr. Bolton is not going to walk into the White House with a to-do list, and the first thing on it is create a nuclear war with North Korea. John is not crazy. He's not stupid. And he's very well experienced as an arms controller and in diplomacy. So what he's going to be doing is, I think, trying to establish a better agenda for the National Security Advisor. And I think he's going to be very close to Mr. Trump in things like the coming talks with North Korea. So insofar as cyber war, I mean, he's absolutely right. You've got General Nakasone taking over. I think he's being confirmed this week as head of National Security Agency and Cyber Command. And he's got a very tough thing ahead of him. Nakasone and John Bolton will be working, I assume, very closely to try to deal with the issues of Russian cyber war, Chinese cyber war, Iranian cyber war, and all of these tens of thousands of attacks that are made on our infrastructure every single day. So these are the kinds of things that can, at some point, rise to the status of an act of war. When a cyber attack actually results in the deaths of people or a significant damage to infrastructure, that's an act of war. So things are going to be getting hotter and not colder in cyber war in that realm. And I know several of the people who are involved in it, and they're working very hard to protect our infrastructure and our defense and intelligence establishments. It's a very tall order, and it's not clear where we're going to be 5 years from now because, quite frankly, the other guys are just as good as we are.
With respect to Bolton and any possible meeting between President Trump and Kim Jong-un, you suggest in your piece in The Spectator about Kim Jong-un's meeting with President Xi of China that there's no good that's going to come out of any talks or meeting with Kim Jong-un. So are you hopeful that Bolton talks the president back from meeting with Un?
No, I think that meeting with Kim is probably a good idea. But I think Bolton is going to be a leavening force, and you're not going to see the president come out of there with another bad deal like we had in the 1994 agreed framework the Clintons fell for. What we're going to see here, what we're seeing right now, is that China and South Korea and Japan are all sitting there shaking in their shoes trying to figure out what the heck are these two guys going to do when they get together, and they're trying to influence the talks before they come out, or before they begin, rather because none of them, China, South Korea, Japan, and quite a few other nations, none of them, I believe, have a lot of faith in either Trump or Kim Jong-un to make a decent deal. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on the president to make a deal, pretty much any deal. The left will want to have some sort of a deal come out of there, like the dangerous and ridiculous Obama nuclear weapons agreement with Iran. They're going to want to have something like that. But I think Mr. Bolton is going to, quite frankly, prevent that. And prevent the president from getting into a bad deal. So we'll see. No one really is sure what's going to happen. It's not even for sure that the meeting is going to happen. But I think it will, and it probably should.
He is Jed Babin, former U.S. Deputy Undersecretary of Defense, contributor to the Washington Times and the American Spectator. We can read his most recent piece on the Xi-Un meeting and the forthcoming potential meeting with President Trump. Jed, thanks for joining us as always. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Do you want your basement to be dry most of the time? If so, Permaseal is not the company for you. At Permaseal, we believe your basement should be dry all the time, no matter how hard it rains. Hi, I'm Roy Spencer, president of Permaseal. I hear story after story of homeowners who say their basement only leaks when it rains. Well, you don't worry about your living room or bedroom getting wet when it rains, and you should feel the same way about your basement. Just call 800-421-SEAL. We offer a free estimate, no haggle pricing, and a price assurance guarantee, so you can rest assured that you're getting the best value. Your basement is already dry most of the time, but if you want your basement dry all the time, you know who to call. 800-421-SEAL. Permaseal has earned an A-plus rating from the BBB and has received their 2016 Torch Award for Marketplace Ethics. That's 800-421-SEAL or visit permaseal.net.
Protect your firearms and valuables with the best money can buy, a Liberty Safe from Maxon Shooter Supplies and the new LibertySafeChicago.com. Maxon, your local Liberty dealer, stocks the complete line of Liberty safes and accessories. Not in stock? You can customize, configure, and order online at LibertySafeChicago.com. Pick it up at Maxon or have it delivered and professionally installed. Right now, Liberty is offering 0% financing for qualified customers. And during this April launch only, you can purchase a Liberty floor safe from Maxon at up to a $500 discount. Owning a Liberty safe has never been so easy. For over 25 years, millions of American homes have trusted their 100% made in the U.S. Liberty safes to protect their guns, keep them out of the reach of children, and protect their valuables from theft and fire. Liberty stands behind every safe with a lifetime warranty. If anyone tries to break into your Liberty safe, they'll repair or replace it for free. Choose your Liberty safe in person at Maxon Shooter Supplies in Des Plaines, or shop online and view details at LibertySafeChicago.com.
Did you know that studies have shown that we need over 10 servings of fruits and veggies every single day? If you're like me, it's hard to find the time and money to prepare and eat all of those fruits and vegetables. Who can do that? Yet we know that proper nutrition can prevent health problems, give us energy, and help us heal faster. Balance of Nature has spent over 20 years researching and delivering solutions to this problem. We can ensure that you consume over 30 different fruits and veggies every single day. Our capsules are filled with 100% real whole foods. There isn't a single thing added to Balance of Nature products. They're pure. We spent an incredible amount of time on the quality of our products. We do this for you. We do it for our own families. Give yourself a break and give your body what it needs. Call now to receive 35% off your first Balance of Nature order. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Abilify, Wellbutrin, Seroquel, Rexulti. These drugs are commonly prescribed for depression treatment. 2018 can be the year you win the war on depression.
New year, new you.
Drugs for depression can be dangerous, have side effects, and really just mask the problem. TMS therapy treats the source of your depression. Cure or remission is here. HBR centers are proud to bring TMS therapy to Chicagoland and Milwaukee. Millions have been treated, and the results are outstanding.
TMS therapy is drug-free and non-invasive.
How does it work? TMS therapy uses safe, small magnetic fields, similar to those used in an MRI. They stimulate and activate mood centers, causing long-term medication-free relief. It's FDA cleared and covered by most insurance, including Blue Cross Blue Shield and Medicare. Make the call. Ask questions. Bring an end to your depression. HPR centers in Chicagoland and Milwaukee.
800-604-0208. 800-604-0208.
HPR centers. Go to endmydepression.com.
When the need for senior care arises, there's no place like home. Your loved ones should never have to give up living at home. Visiting Angels will provide home care for your mom or dad at home up to 24 hours per day, including personal care, meals, and light housework. You'll select your professional caregiver with Visiting Angels. Look up visitingangels.com or call 877-374-LIVE. That's 877-374-LIVE. Franchises are available. Visiting Angels, America's choice in senior home care.
As a small business owner, you're juggling it all, including customers' calls from your personal phone. But with Grasshopper, you get a business phone number and a business phone system from our mobile app, so you can work smarter, not harder. Grasshopper forwards calls, texts, even transcribes voicemails. Everything you need to simplify your business and stay responsive. With Grasshopper, there's no long-term contracts, and customer support is 24/7. Whether you're starting or growing your business, Grasshopper is the answer. Now get $20 off your first month when you visit grasshopper.com/radio.
The mainstream media is nothing more than an American Pravda. You know it, I know it, and so does James O'Keefe, one of the bravest and most dangerous journalists working today. Don't miss a special event sponsored by the Heartland Institute to hear and meet the fearless James O'Keefe in his only Chicago area appearance. O'Keefe worked with the legendary Andrew Breitbart to blow the lid off the Acorn scandal. His undercover video stings exposed the shady practices of Planned Parenthood and NPR. He exposed widespread voter fraud and other corrupt practices among Democrat political operatives. O'Keefe's Project Veritas even caught CNN admitting the Russian investigation is a big nothing burger. O'Keefe's new book is American Pravda, My Fight for Truth in the Era of Fake News. It exposes the utter corruption of our so-called mainstream media. You need to attend this event on April 18th at the Cotillion in Palatine to hear James O'Keefe for yourself. Visit heartland.org for tickets. That's James O'Keefe, April 18th in Palatine. Go to heartland.org to reserve your seats. Do it now.
Hey, Radioland, Ken here from Income Store. Did you know making money is like a combination lock? If you know the numbers and the proper order of the numbers, it has to open. The lock doesn't know or care if you're 8 or 80 years old. It has to open. Making money is the same way. When you know the steps and know the right order for the steps, revenue generation has to happen. As we like to say at Income Store, if you know the steps to take and you take the steps, revenue will be created. For close to a decade, we have proved to thousands of households and businesses that adding an additional revenue stream is not magic or luck. Both Forbes and Inc. praise Income Store as a can't miss when it comes to creating revenue for a home or business. If you'd like to see exactly how anyone from a teenager with more time than money to an executive with more money than time can add a revenue stream to their home or business, just open one of the 2 entry doors you'll find at incomestore.com. That's incomestore.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Ticket giveaway. Newt Gingrich, Howard Dean debating at Judson University World Leaders Forum Thursday, April 19th. Community event 2 p.m. on campus at Judson. VIP reception with photo op at 5 p.m. at the Hilton downtown. Buyer tickets starting at $65 online at judsonu.edu/WLF. Or you can win them now. Caller number 6 to 312-773-6993. Caller number 6, 312-773-6993 wins tickets to Gingrich versus Dean. And coming up at 8:08, we'll ask Selena Zito from the Washington Examiner if Scott Pruitt is the next to go shopping for furniture with Mrs. Carson. But now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
3 are killed in an ambulance crash in Bellwood. 1 man killed in an Oak Park fire. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
China is pushing back on trade. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. Dozens of American products are being hit with new tariffs in China in response to moves by the Trump administration. Fox's Rachel Sutherland's in Washington.
Chris, China is imposing duties on 128 U.S. imports, including pork, fruit, and wine, effective today. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says President Trump has been keeping his campaign promises.
He's tired of American workers being taken advantage of. He's tired of our intellectual property being taken.
The U.S. agriculture industry has been sounding the alarm about retaliatory tariffs. The National Council of Farmer Cooperatives saying Chinese retaliation would hurt an already hobbled farm economy. Chris.
Rachel, a senator says a Russia election meddling investigation jumped the gun. At the White House, here's Fox's John Decker.
Republican Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson on NBC's Meet the Press questioned the appointment of Robert Mueller as special counsel, saying he's concerned that the position of special counsel hindered other investigations.
The special counsel was named far too soon. I would have much rather had the Senate and House Intelligence Committees complete their report.
By contrast, House Oversight Committee Chairman Trey Gowdy on CBS's Face the Nation praised the work of Mueller and said he had confidence in his investigation. Chris?
John, teachers in Kentucky and Oklahoma are marching at their state capitals today for more education funding. Rick Meacham's a phys ed teacher in Tulsa who says he has to work as a waiter on the side.
You're starting to rob from the kids because you can't produce the product that you need with the money that they've taken away.
Last week, Oklahoma's governor, though, signed new taxes into law to raise education spending. The rally is going on as planned, though, with some teachers saying the money's not enough. Carlos Quesada is elected president of Costa Rica. His opponent was a religious singer who campaigned against gay marriage. That issue became mostly what this election was about. Quesada is a writer and former minister of Labor and Social Security. Fox News, fair and balanced.
21 degrees, mostly sunny skies at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Police are searching for possible victims following a car crash in Des Plaines. Authorities say the accident happened early this morning when a vehicle traveling on Rand Road hit a pole between Route 14 and Elk Boulevard. A man whose 1990 double murder conviction was overturned is accusing Chicago police detectives of corruption. Jose Masonette filed that wrongful conviction lawsuit yesterday. He was released last November after Cook County prosecutors dropped criminal charges against him. 10 are without a home following a blaze on Chicago's South Side that broke out early this morning inside of an apartment building near 80th and Cottage Grove. Meantime, authorities are trying to determine what caused a deadly fire in Oak Park. That blaze broke out Easter morning inside of a condo building in the 300 block of South Wisconsin Avenue. One man is dead after being struck by a car over the weekend in Aurora. Police investigating the incident say it happened Saturday night near Ogden Avenue and Long Grove Drive. Loyola back home following their magical run to the Final Four. The Ramblers greeted by fans as they returned to the Northside campus yesterday after falling to Michigan in the national semifinals in San Antonio. Chicago police are touting an overall drop in crime in the city. The department releasing data yesterday that shows the city's 2018 crime rate is down by about 15%, they say, from the same time period last year. Chicago sports. Marlins blank the Cubs 6-0 in Miami. Cubs take on the Reds early this evening at the Great American Ballpark. Sox and Royals snowed out. Sox open up a 3-game set with the Blue Jays later tonight. Bulls crush the Wizards 113-94. The news is a service of Napa. This month at participating Napa Auto Parts stores, Castrol full synthetic motor oil is on sale for just $6.39 a quart. Quality parts, helpful people, that's Napa know-how. General States pricing, sale price does not include applicable state and local taxes or recycling fees. 8:04 time for the AM 560 Business Beat from the Fox Business Network and a service of Turnkey.pro. Here's Carol Zimmer.
From the Fox Business Network, Saks and Lord & Taylor are the latest companies to be hit with a security breach. Hackers have stolen the information from about 5 million credit and debit cards and have been releasing them for sale on dark web forums, according to a cybersecurity firm. If you've been to your local mall recently, you probably already know this. There are a lot of stores sitting empty. Empty space in regional shopping malls reached a 6-year high in the first quarter, with the vacancy rate in big malls rising to 8.4%. If you think your wedding cost a bundle, how about the royal wedding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are planning? This union could cost as much as $45 million. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Carol Zimmer.
8:05 in Chicago. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Larry Elder breaks the bad news to Hillary Clinton.
30% of the people who voted for Donald Trump had voted for President Obama.
A third of the people that voted for Trump voted for Obama, and that they felt that there wasn't enough progress in their own lives, and that's why you lost Hillary. Had nothing to do with women being unduly influenced by their bosses, boyfriends, husbands. You just lost.
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
All money managers may seem pretty much the same. But while some money managers may recommend high commission investment products, Fisher Investments avoids them. Some money managers may have hidden and layered fees. Fisher Investments never does. And while some money managers are happy to earn commissions from you, whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're structured to be on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come to us from other money managers. Talk with us and find out why so many experienced investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments, clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
It is 8:07. Time for a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. In for Jim, here's Dominic.
Well, as you mentioned during the news, after an overnight crash, Rand Road remains closed in displays between Minor and Elk, with a crash and a subsequent investigation there. Eden's in, 19 minutes late Cook to the junction. Kennedy in hung up at Kimball, 32 minutes in from O'Hare, 22 in from Montrose, 28 a bit slow in those inbound express lanes. Largest delay in our area, inbound Ike from Austin through the Burn Circle, an hour 2 in from Thorndale, 42 in from Manheim. Brake lights on the inbound Stevenson cost you time near Harlem. Meanwhile, the inbound Ryan, 40 minutes, 95th into downtown. A bulk of that delay begins right near the ballpark at 35th through the Burns Circle. We also have some extended delays now southbound Lakeshore between Montrose and North Avenue. Traffic's a service of Napa this month at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Castrol full synthetic motor oils on sale for just $6.39 a quart. Quality parts, helpful people, that's Napa know-how. General States pricing, sales price does not include applicable state and local taxes or recycling fees. Traffic answers when you need them the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Turning cloudy today, high 45. Tonight, occasional rain and drizzle, low 37. Tomorrow, periods of rain, high 44. Evening rain followed by a late night rain or snow shower in spots tomorrow night. Wind gusts of 30 miles per hour, low 27. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 26 at O'Hare, 31 along the lakefront. Next news at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next with our friend John Cass sitting in with us this morning on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy every Sunday afternoon at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, this is Dan, and in for Amy J. This morning is John Cass. And John, our next guest is very much like you, a elite journalist and columnist without the elitist attitude. And this is why I like her, like I like you.
I like her as well.
She's got an excellent piece, does Selena Zito, in the Washington Examiner, The Middle of Somewhere, where she writes in part, "There's no patch of geography in this country that is the middle of nowhere. This is America. Everywhere is the middle of somewhere. Whether it's Tightwad, Missouri, Mooresville, Alabama, Hyder, Alaska, Oatman, Arizona, or right here in Lost River, West Virginia," which she starts the column talking about. "Every place, large or small, depressed or thriving, or down to one mailbox on one lonely road, is somewhere. We're all equals. We all contribute to the culture, diversity, dialect, and importance of this country." And I do want to visit Tightwad, Missouri now, just because. I mean, how could you not want to visit Tightwad, Missouri?
I need a moon pie and a Dr. Pepper on a porch somewhere.
I love it. And for more on this topic and others, we're pleased to be joined by Selena Zito. Selena, thanks for being with us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me. Those are all places that I've been in this country. And Tightwad, Missouri got its name from two brothers who were bankers, if I'm remembering the story correctly, and one was prudent with money,
yes,
and
yes.
the other brother was resentful of that, and so he named the town in a dispute between the two brothers. He named the town Tightwad.
Right, something right out of It's a Wonderful Life. Yes. Well, so before we get to that, though, Selena, I want to congratulate you and find out how it's going. You tweeted last week about former Supreme Court Justice John Paul Stevens' column in the New York Times suggesting the Second Amendment be repealed. You tweeted essentially, I'm not quoting verbatim, but that every Democrat politician, every Democrat member of Congress should be asked whether or not they agree with Justice Stevens' prescription for gun violence, repeal of the Second Amendment. And I thought that was brilliant because, if it would be something commensurate with that, that was targeting, that was coming from the right, then every Republican would be asked about it. So you're essentially suggesting fair play here. And I wonder how that's going in terms of Democrats responding to Stevens' op-ed.
To date, I don't know if anybody's been asked.
Mm-hmm.
I took some criticism for that, for saying, well, hey, he was appointed by a Republican, so he was a Republican. Yeah. And so my response was, when a party is out of power, there's no one singular leader, and so this is an emerging position among the left and in the center left as well. And so I think it's an important distinction that voters need to understand going into the voting booth. In particular, Democrats running against other Democrats in primary contests. You know, there has been a lot of talk, especially after the win by Conor Lamb here in my own district in Pennsylvania, that moderate Democrats could be incredibly successful across the country in helping lift the Democratic Party into the majority in the House. So, you know, voters need to know when they go in the voting booth, well, is this a pro-gun Democrat? Is this a Democrat that believes that the Second Amendment should be appealed? What is their position? I mean, you know, they can also ask the same of a Republican as well. I mean, I was just making the point that Democrats don't have a leader. So when these positions rise up as part of the mainstream conversation, it needs to be addressed, and the question needs to be asked.
But then you're just dividing people. You're involved in wedge issues. You're right. I'm just trying to think of all the cliches that we get when people don't like what you're asking, which is simply stand up and deliver. Where are you on an issue? They don't want that.
Yeah.
And David Hogg might not like you either as a result. I don't think.
Well, I don't. I try to stay away from anything that has to do with that subject because it is nothing but a hot potato, and everyone's getting burnt on with in relationship to what his comments have been.
Yes, I don't want to be turned into Jack in the Boxes here.
Yes, right. Twilight Zone come to life. So, Selena, so going back to your piece, the middle of Somewhere in the Washington Examiner, you closed the piece saying it's only once the people in power understand that Trump was the result of a movement and not the cause that they'll start calling all of America the middle of somewhere. And I wonder if Trump is forgetting that. And I say that because he's got some problems in House. One is signing that omnibus spending bill. Two is his some of his cabinet secretaries, who even though they may be effective, like Scott Pruitt, are behaving a little bit like ruling class politicians when it comes to other people's money.
Well, I'm going to push back on the Scott Pruitt
all right.
situation, and here's why. You know, we too often we don't praise people for being good parents. He and his wife have a son that's a senior in high school. He has 4 months left. And, you know, he decides that he doesn't want to uproot his entire family because of that, and he makes a decision to rent out a place by the night, sort of like Airbnb, right? And so I think this is not a scandal. There are plenty of scandals going around in this world, but I personally do not think this is one. And I think that there should be, you know, a little more. People need to step back and take a look at this.
I'm sorry, but not to interrupt. But not just Pruitt, and there's still the issue of like the size of his security detail. I mean, he's the EPA administrator. Maybe you would recognize him on the street, but not very many people would. Number one. Number two, it's not just him. I don't want to limit him. It's the situation with Ben Carson and his wife with the office furniture. It's the outgoing VA Secretary Shulkin. Right.
Yeah, that was Carson's decision was ridiculous. And I think that, you know, those things need to be dealt with and dealt with head on. I thought that President Trump handled the situation with his Health and Human Services director pretty effectively when he found out that he was being abusive of taxpayers' money. The guy was gone.
It's true. That's true.
Boom, gone. But I think that these each individual situation should be reviewed on an individual basis and to see if there's truly an abuse and if there's not. Now, I also will speak. I mean, let's step back and take a look at why would the Energy Secretary need such? I'm not Energy Secretary, but why would the EPA administrator need such, you know, oversized detail? Think about it. Think about some of the most strident and activists that are out there.
Environmentalists.
That would be the climate change people.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the kinds of threats that people in his position get, I imagine it is warranted that he has that kind of security detail. We don't know what kind of threats that he gets, but I suspect the size of his detail reflects what he's experiencing in his position.
When I'm in Washington, I demand of my editors that I stay only at the Hayes Adams because I can't handle a $50 a night Capitol Hill rental. But where do you find a $50? I mean, where do you find that place in D.C. to rent some place for $50 a night?
You can
Really?
find a place like that in Airbnb.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it.
Well, he shouldn't have done it with in a lobbyist's place. Simple.
No, that is true.
Okay.
That was true. That was a decision made out of convenience and probably not the best decision. But of all of that, that was the only part I thought was a bad decision on his part. But outside of that, I would think that a lot of had he done it in any other place, it would have been better. Than just the optics of it are not good.
Getting back to your middle of somewhere piece and the idea that Trump is the cause, or is not the cause of movement, but the result of it. I wonder if you think he's trying to kind of get back in that lane after the omnibus bill signing, with what he's saying about DACA now and trying to kind of reestablish where he's at and putting Democrats in a corner with all of those nobodies and all of those nowhere places in America.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have always said that the only thing that would detach Trump supporters from him is him becoming part of the swamp. The only thing that he has done to date that has been swamp-like that I can think of, and trust me, everything comes at you like 100 miles an hour, so if I'm forgetting something, please forgive me, but was the signing of that omnibus bill. But I don't think that was like the aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
Out here in Western Pennsylvania, and through the areas that I travel, even in Illinois, in Southern Illinois, people are happy. They like what he's doing. They like his positions on North Korea. They like that he has shown an interesting ability to get this to the two of them talking. They like the tariffs, and they like that the tariffs are more of a buffet instead of a, across the board, this is it. So there's some exceptions with people that are our friends and that we trade vigorously with. So I'm not sure that the budget looms heavy over a Trump supporter at this moment. This is not the thing that sinks him.
She is Selena Zito. She's the elite columnist without the elitist attitude at the Washington Examiner, New York Post, CNN contributor. Read her latest piece, which I just tweeted, the middle of somewhere at WashingtonExaminer.com. Selena, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me. Have a great day.
You too. And she joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Okay, so it's cold, okay? Just deal with it. Some sun, turning cloudy and chilly, high of 45. And then tonight, occasional rain and drizzle, low 37. Again, I ask you, find me on Facebook, do I leave the head on or off for Easter on Sunday? Now for the traffic.
You have to be more specific about the head on or off
The
what?
head of the lamb.
Oh,
what
yeah.
else is there? The head on or off of the lamb. Not, we eat lamb for Easter. And now, Dominic, what's the traffic?
In Des Plaines this morning, Rand Road remains closed after an overnight crash that shut down between Minor and Elk. Getting busier on the inbound Kennedy, 32 minutes in from O'Hare, 22 in from the junction, 28 a bit slow in those express lanes. You're hung up in the locals. Kimball through the Burns Circle. Inbound Eisenhower, an hour, 2 in from Thorndale, 42 in from Manheim. Pretty slow Austin into the Burns Circle. Meanwhile, the inbound Stevenson backs up Harlem to Kedzie, 55 minutes between 355 and the Drive. Watch for thick traffic on the inbound Ryan. 35th Street is where you're going to find some slowdowns. 40 minutes in from 95th. Also tight on the inbound Bishop Ford, Stony Island feeder into the Ryan, while southbound Lakeshore gets slow right near Belmont through North Avenue. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Great organizations are made up of great people. When your company needs top talent fast without sacrificing quality, FlexExecs can help. For short-term needs or full-time positions, FlexExecs has provided mid to senior level talent in human resources, marketing, operations, finance, and accounting for almost 30 years. Whether you need one person or a team, FlexExecs is ready to place the right people. They'll help your business meet deadlines and goals, plus control costs. That delivers results for your company's staff and clients. You know how finding the right people to drive your company is critical. Partnering with FlexExecs makes it easy. Find out why hundreds of companies are thrilled with the results. Visit flex2018.com. That's flex2018.com. Or call 630-655-0563 and speak to Chris Swanson or Karen Murphy. FlexExecs, the right people at the right time.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
Starting Balance of Nature, I felt that the first month I felt different. It made such a difference that now I wake up, my head feels clearer, I have more energy. Very rarely does my body cramp up anymore. It's the best thing. It's just amazing. I don't know what to say. I just would not be what I am today if I didn't start Balance of Nature.
I plan on taking this the rest of my life because until I started taking your stuff, I never took as many fruits and vegetables in a day as I get through you guys. You know, I'm very, very, very satisfied.
My pain and it went away. I swear to you that that's the truth.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Shoot Point Blank is Chicago's leading shooting range and firearms store. Featuring 20 climate-controlled shooting lanes, complete retail store, and firearm education classes for all experience levels. Whether you're a new or expert shooter, now you can experience the Shoot Point Blank difference and see for yourself why so many people are talking about Shoot Point Blank.
I can tell you, I was impressed as soon as I walked through the door. The employees were really helpful, very patient, and knowledgeable, too.
My wife and I had a wonderful experience. We felt very comfortable and informed.
Brett was very friendly and respectful, and he answered all my questions. Because I'm new to pistols, I'm grateful he was patient and helped me decide what to buy for my new firearm.
For a huge selection of new and used firearms, ammo, and state-of-the-art indoor shooting range, visit them in Hodgkins, Mokina, Naperville, or Merrillville. Or check out shootpointblank.com. Experience the difference. Shoot Point Blank.
Dan Proft here, and I'm here with my guy, Ryan Kelly, at thehomeloanexpert.com. Over the last several years, it's been difficult for business owners and self-employed borrowers to refinance or buy homes, but that's about to change, Ryan. Tell everyone about your new loan program.
We're really excited to announce the Bank Statement Mortgage. The Bank Statement Mortgage is going to be a game changer in the industry. We're the first people to bring it out to the market. Here's the deal. If you're a business owner or self-employed, maybe you're a dentist, a doctor, a lawyer, a realtor, insurance agent, a contractor, a web designer, whatever it is, you should be taking advantage of all of your taxable, all your deductions. When you do that, you might make $70,000 a year, but after you write everything off, you're down to about $25,000, and you can't qualify for a mortgage on $25,000 in adjusted gross income. Well, I don't need your tax returns, pay stubs, 1099s, or any of that. I'll qualify you on your bank statements. If you're self-employed and you need a mortgage, apply online today at thehomeloanexpert.com. The Home Loan Expert LLC.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and John Cass in for Amy this morning. And John, I hope everybody had a happy and blessed Passover and Easter. John, you'll celebrate yours this weekend, as you were just alluding to with the lamb.
Pesach, Passover, Pascha, Easter.
All right. And I can't let this go without remarking upon it. The D.C. Press Corps, if you want to understand just how deep is the ignorance within the ranks of the D.C. Press Corps. they are so antagonistic towards people of faith, particularly Christians, because they have no concept of it. Exhibit 1, Chuck Todd, tweet on Friday. I'm a bit hokey when it comes to Good Friday. I don't mean disrespect to the religious aspect of the day, but I love the idea of reminding folks that any day can become, quote unquote, good. All it takes is a little selflessness on our own part, works every time. That is just sentimentalist pablum. And Chuck Todd is essentially suggesting that, hey, is there a difference between Good Friday and just being good on Friday? Not really.
It's like when liberals use the Gospel of Matthew to support tax increases. And they do. Yeah. I know because I work with some.
Yeah.
Okay?
But enough about John Kasich.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's remarkable. And Chuck Todd was just the worst example of religious ignorance over the weekend. There were other examples. NPR mangled the definition of Easter, the historical truth of Easter, reporting that it's the day celebrating the idea that Jesus did not die or go to hell or purgatory or anywhere like that, but rather arose into heaven. Forgetting even the quality of that sentence, much less the accuracy of it. Yeah. AP hailed Mary Magdalene as a biblical Me Too poster child.
It's beyond, it's not, okay, look, we're laughing, but really, okay, Western civilization, okay, it's over. Just let's go now.
Truly.
Let's find a place.
Truly. But it helps explain, and remember, these are the leading lights presiding over our national political and policy discussions. Now, you get a little sense of why we have the quality of the political and policy discussions we have, which is to say, lacking. Jesus Christ Superstar, nice, perfect segue. Jesus Christ Superstar brings one of the greatest stories ever told to life for Chuck Todd in the groundbreaking, iconic rock musical composed by Andrew Lloyd Webber. Will be at the Chicago Lyric Opera House April 27th through May 20th. For more details and to buy tickets, you can visit lyricopera.org, lyricopera.org. Always a good show at the Lyric Opera. I still need to get over and see Faust. And this morning, we're giving away a pair of tickets to Jesus Christ Superstar at the Lyric Opera to the, what number caller, John?
I think it's 6.
6, okay. 6 again. 6 caller, 312-733-6993. 312-733-6993. The 6th caller will get a pair of free tickets to Jesus Christ Superstar at the Lyric Opera. Runs April 27th through May 20th. Call now. And coming up, John Cass has a question for me that I may or may not answer at 8:38. But now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
23 degrees. Skies are sunny here, but we're getting reports of some big snow amounts just to our south. President Trump is tweeting again this morning about Mexico allowing caravans of immigrants to pass through their country to try and get into the United States. The president apparently referring to a group of around 1,100 currently in transit in Mexico. It's the 5th year for the crossing, and the group that has put that caravan together says the migrants are fleeing violence. They plan to seek asylum. China slapping tariffs on dozens of American products. The new tariffs take effect today are retaliation, China says, for the president's harsh tariffs on steel and aluminum imports. A falling Chinese space station no longer a threat. Chinese space officials say the space lab re-entered the Earth's atmosphere and mostly burned up over the South Pacific. Acclaimed television writer and producer Stephen Bochco is dead. Bochco died over the weekend after a years-long battle with leukemia. He was 74. Bochco is the groundbreaking producer and writer behind Hill Street Blues, L.A. Law, and NYPD Blue. Police are searching for possible victims this morning following a car crash in Des Plaines. It happened along Rand Road. 10 are without a home following a fire on Chicago's south side. It broke out early this morning inside of an apartment building near 80th and Cottage Grove. There is another outbreak at the State Veterans Home in Quincy. The Illinois Department of Public Health saying a number of people living at that home have come down with a stomach bug and they suspect norovirus. Chicago sports. Dylan Peters' 6 shutout innings of work. Marlins blank the Cubs 6-0 in Miami. Cubs play the first of 2 against the Reds early this evening. Yesterday's game between the Sox and Royals postponed due to freezing weather. The makeup date April 28th. Sox open a set against the Blue Jays later tonight. The news, a service of Napa. This month at participating Napa Auto Parts stores, Castrol Full Synthetic Motor Oil is on sale for just $6.39 a quart. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how. General States pricing. Sale price does not include applicable state or local taxes or a recycling fee. 8:33 is our time. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, great coffee, period.
When the need for senior care arises, there's no place like home. Your loved ones should never have to give up living at home. Visiting Angels will provide home care for your mom or dad at home up to 24 hours per day, including personal care, meals, and light housework. You'll select your professional caregiver with Visiting Angels. Look up visitingangels.com or call 877-374-LIVE. That's 877-374-LIVE. Franchises are available. Visiting Angels, America's choice in senior home care.
As a small business owner, you're juggling it all, including customers' calls from your personal phone. But with Grasshopper, you get a business phone number and a business phone system from our mobile app, so you can work smarter, not harder. Grasshopper forwards calls, texts, even transcribes voicemails. Everything you need to simplify your business and stay responsive. With Grasshopper, there's no long-term contracts, and customer support is 24/7. Whether you're starting or growing your business, Grasshopper is the answer. Now get $20 off your first month when you visit grasshopper.com/radio.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Bob Aument, a founding partner of the law firm of Dassman and Aument and longtime personal customer of Signature Bank. Our firm recently left one of the larger banks to bank with Signature Bank, and it's been a refreshing change. With Signature Bank, we've been able to tailor banking solutions that fit the specific needs of our firm. Beyond that, Signature Bank is responsive, efficient, and timely in meeting those needs. If I have a request, I pick up the phone and talk to Mick O'Rourke, not someone at a phone bank thousands of miles away. Dassman and Aument needed more than what the larger banks offer, and we found that with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It is 8:35. I guess it's a day of celebration after the winter parking ban is over in the city of Chicago. The Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. In for Jim, here's Dominic.
If you're a city resident, consider yourself lucky to survive all that. In Buffalo Grove, we've got a new crash at Buffalo Grove and Aptekissick, and in Des Plaines, still Rand Road shut down. Minor to Elk with a crash. Eden's looking all right in both directions. Kennedy and though hung up at Pulaski, 46 minutes in from O'Hare, 36 in from Montrose, 32. In the inbound express lanes, delays inbound Ike cost you 57 minutes in from Thorndale, hung up between Central and the Burns Circle. Inbound Stevenson on the brakes, Harlem to Kedzie, 57 minutes in from 355, 47 in from the Tri-State. Brake lights are on the inbound Ryan, right near 47th. It's going to cost you 40 minutes, 95th in the downtown. And we've got some thick delays northbound Tri-State, even right off the Stevenson out through 31st. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Sunshine this morning, cloudy and chilly this afternoon. Will top out at 45. Currently 24 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next with our friend John Cass sitting in with us this morning on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
When you've got questions, he always has an answer. It's Sean Hannity this afternoon at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Chicago Tribune columnist extraordinaire John Cass in for Amy this morning. And John, I want to answer your question before you ask me a question. Your question about head or no head on the lamb.
Right.
Betty wants no head.
Betty,
No head on the lamb. Right? Isn't that what she wants?
Go on.
Isn't that what she wants?
Let me hear what you're going to say.
You do whatever the wife wants.
Oh.
It's simple.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I just solved
Yeah.
your problem for you.
Okay, good. Now, here's my problem. I'm sitting with Kristen McQuarrie, who you might know.
Yes, she's Chicago Tribune editorial board member.
Right, and we're on the great podcast, best podcast in the universe, The Chicago Way with John Cass, and we're talking about Thunderdome. Did you ever see that movie?
We don't
Mad
need
Max.
another hero.
Mad Max.
We don't need
Two men
another
enter,
way.
one man leaves. And on May
Who
20th,
is dressed like Tina Turner, you or Kristen?
definitely, that we're saving that for you.
Okay.
The leather outfit is for you. On May 22nd, everyone, at the City Club of Chicago, there'll be a debate on the future of the Republican Party in Illinois. I call that Thunderdome because the guests are Dan Proft, yeah, the guy standing here talking to you on the radio, and his former best friend.
Well, best friend's a little
Or let's say former friend and golfing buddy,
Yeah.
Pat Brady.
Uh-huh.
And the question for me as a journalist, because I want to be able to get some work out of you today and help me with the column, is first of all, is there a future? And this fight between you and Pat Brady, isn't that symptomatic of something larger that will basically destroy the Republican Party forevermore?
Well, there's so
in the
much.
land of stinking.
There's so much there that requires unpacking, beginning with the question of whether or not you accept the premise that there's a Republican Party that exists currently. So can something have a future if it is inert? I guess. Is there a possibility that a Republican Party will be born in Illinois? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But we'll take your suggestions. Help me do John's work for him. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Just thinking about this historically, I mentioned this before last week. The problem with the Illinois Republican Party is we never experienced the Reagan Revolution, if you want to think about it in the modern context, so to say the last 40 years, when Reagan was piling up 40 states in 80, 49 in 84.
We had Bill Cellini running things.
Jim Thompson, Shalander,
puppets, yeah.
right, all these names of bygone era that is not bygone. That's the problem. They're just different names, but it's the same culture. It's the same spoils of war approach to governance. It's big government republicanism, which turns out not to be all that dissimilar from big government Chicago Democrat Party politics. And we're left with these silly choices like, is Bruce Rauner better than J.B. Pritzker? And my analogy is, do you want to be led into battle against the British by Benedict Arnold as the general of the Continental Army? Or do you want to split off and just fight the British yourself, and however that turns out, as well as traitors on your side? And I'm kind of in that camp. I'm not going to pretend that we don't have a traitor at the head of the party based on his conduct, which is not in dispute. It's just being recast by people like Pat and many others. I mean, Pat's an ancillary figure. It's Jim Durkin, Bill Brady, the people that benefit from the status quo. They just want to protect their sinecure. They're interested in winning elections, kind of going through the motions. They're not really interested in governance. They're just interested in their election and the election of their friends, because it's about me and my friends getting power so we can distribute the spoils of war. It's not about toppling Madigan. That's work. And then what are we going to do? Then we have to govern, and we'll have to accept responsibility. We could no longer say, I'm not in charge. We would have to do things. And then we wouldn't be able to define ourselves in the negative. I'm not Mike Madigan. Hi, my name's Dan. I'm not Mike Madigan. That's the definition of the Republican Party. If Mike Madigan ever goes away, oh my gosh, it would be like the Globetrotters leaving the Generals. You'd have nobody to play against. You'd have nobody to rail against. So the Republican Party is facing the prospect of continuing to be the super minority party, because it's a party that is without brand and definition, anything that's relevant to people's quality of life or gives any people any reason to stay, who are disproportionately center-right voters, of course. And it's a surrender party. It's a party with enemies inside the perimeter at the leadership levels, and you just can't work around that. So the Democrats will control all the branches of government after 2018. They'll control the map for the next decade, and that means that participating in this election cycle would be like about perhaps like exacting some vengeance, maybe moving a few legislators across the finish line to minimize the damage that will be done down ballot by both Trump and Rauner and where the climate is currently. But I mean, I don't know. That's not particularly appealing to me, particularly coming off of Easter and the Jesus Christ dying and rising, changing the paradigm of violence for violence and rather love overcoming violence. So maybe I'm just going to go to a happy place and be
He's going to go
more
to
loving.
Mount Athos. I can imagine
Yes.
Dan going to Mount Athos contemplating these questions
Yes.
for the next 6
Exactly.
months. But in the meantime,
Yeah.
Where's that unity breakfast that I wrote about last week, the one where they were going to use ball-peen hammers as silverware? Where's the Republican unity?
I'm going to be invited to that. I have no idea.
Well,
the people in charge. That's call Tim Schneider, call Bruce Rauner, call Richard
Would Gene
Porter,
Ives
call Pat Brady.
Would Gene Ives go?
I don't know.
And is there any possibility that
What's the point of pretense? I guess would be my response to that. What's the point of it? I mean, so you want me to participate in the fraud? Not just the fraud of Rauner and the big government Republicans last 3 years. Remember, 15 House Republicans under Jim Durkin's visionary leadership, including his floor leader, half of the Republican Party House leadership voted for the tax increase. It doesn't get done without them, and it doesn't get done without Rauner's Pontius Pilate routine. Continuing our Easter theme. So you want me to now
spend all the money,
right? So you want me to be part of advancing that fraud, in addition to validating the fraudulent campaign that he just ran against
What
Jeannie
about
Ives. So what's the point of that? So it's just my party right or wrong. It's just my Benedict Arnold is better than your feudal lord.
Dan, can't you put your personal differences aside?
It's not personal differences. It's policy differences.
And say that, okay, so he did accuse Gene Ives of being Mike Madigan's succubus, which is the female version of incubus.
Yes.
Right? I mean, during Lent, of all times. But can't you just put that aside?
Well, so here's the thing to that question. That's how they view politics. It's all about personalities and winning these offices, and that's it. They don't understand that political, or at least they don't share this view, let's say it that way. They don't understand that winning political offices is the means to policy ends, because they don't care about policy ends. Tax increases, tax cuts, I don't know, throw some refrigerator magnet adages out there about freeze property taxes, less spending, less government, blah, 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 blah. And who cares? Who cares? It's just about making sure our friends are in office so we can have a good time at everybody else's expense. That's what we care about. So the idea of having a conversation about, elections as the means to policy ends, who cares? If Rauner can do what he did, and he can go against the supermajority of the House Republican caucus on sanctuary state, on abortion funding, on transgender junk science, on Exelon bailouts. Fine, whatever. It's just about the title and my friends being in power. Who cares what we actually do or don't do? Who cares? We lie, we cheat, we steal, we betray. Who cares? We're still better than the other liars and cheaters and traitors. What a great argument. Why would anybody want to be part of either part of it? And here's the thing, they don't. A lot of people don't, and they won't. And that's why Rauner will probably beat Judy Bartopinka for the historically worst Republican vote total in the modern era. I think he'll be south of 39%. He may be south of 30% if the trade unions get Sam McCann to run an independent campaign and take Southern Illinois and social conservatives with him. I mean, that's the reality, and it's all the seeds that we have sown as a party, not just Rauner, going back 40 years where I started, being big government Republicans who never adopted a conservative reform agenda and have never had conservative reform leadership at the state or state party level. Not in my lifetime.
I haven't seen it either. All I've seen is Thompson, Edgar, Cellini, Shalander, and I have to say, Rounder's in that crew now. Definitely. Just because, maybe because of the relativism, the fact that he lied. You can't lie to the Cardinal and get away, and you can't lie to the Cardinal and then think you're going to get votes in the fall.
Well,
It's
not
just
to
gonna
not to get too inside baseball, but John, I mean, Edgar, Ryan had their Bob Shalander. Ronner has his Nancy Kimmy.
Exactly.
Ronner, the lobbyist who worked out of the governor's office, has put together, former chief of staff to Judy Topeka, $17 billion worth of state contracts for her clients in the last 2 years.
Why don't I hear more about that in the news?
The
wow.
news.
I haven't really. I mean, I've
The
read
only
about
place
it in
the only
your-
place that's reported
your
it.
stuff.
Yeah, that's where my paper's the only place that's reported. Pitched it to other outlets to pick it up. Nobody does. Nobody does because the big government press corps in bed with the big government politicians of both parties.
It's like how you don't hear in Chicago the conflict over the Rahm Emanuel voter ID
City key
card, right?
Yeah.
You don't hear about the conflict between African Americans and Latinos, because to even think in those terms, you will threaten, the establishment way of thinking. You will threaten your own assumptions on something, and so it's not done. Same thing with Nancy Kimmy. She can bill all that money. He can hang out with those people down there and pretend he's fighting with Madigan.
Well,
and the state goes to hell.
Well, right, and here's the thing too, they don't have arguments; they have name calling, haters, extremists, blah blah blah.
But that's what they call. That's what they're calling you.
Oh, I understand, but the problem is there's a record. That's the problem, and the record is, I mean, I ran Beth Colson's reelection race 3 times. She was one of the most moderate members of the House during her time there. Successfully ran. She was pro-choice. She was a moderate member of the House on social issues. She had a 100% rating with NFIB, and she was never challenged in a primary, so I'll take that moderate Republican who is who she says she is and behave that way as opposed to a Madigan roll call vote every day of the week. The problem they have is my independent expenditure PAC has supported candidates who disagree with me on the life issue. We've supported pro-choice candidates. We've supported candidates who supported the redefinition of marriage, even though that's not my position. That's the problem they have. It turns out that what's actually happening is they're projecting, just as Ronner was projecting onto Jeannie Ives, who he is, a traitor, in the other side's camp. They're projecting because they are the haters, they are the intolerant, they are the ones trying to excommunicate people who disagree with them on policy issues from the party, as they've been trying to do for some time. They don't care about the party platform. They will not tolerate dissent. They're essentially appendages of the left. I mean, that's just a fact. I mean, the fact of the candidates I've supported is not arguable, and the fact of what they're saying is replete. So connect the dots. I mean, how else do you describe it? By the way, I mean, the likes of Pat Brady, very much in keeping with what we're talking about here generally is this culture. I mean, they have no problem associating with me when there's benefit to be had. So I wasn't a hater when Pat Brady would guest host with me on WLS. So, and my views haven't changed, as you know, John.
Right.
So at some point I metamorphosized into a hater when it turned out I wasn't going to kowtow to Pat Brady and other big government Republicans' interests. When our interests are aligned, then that's fine and they're quiet. When our interests are when our interests are in conflict, then I'm a hater and intolerant and all the rest of it, because they don't have principles. They just have interests masquerading as principles, and their principles move as their interests move. And that's the difference between me and conservatives like Jeannie Ives and many others, like half the party, and them.
The future of the Republican Party in Illinois, Tuesday, May 22nd, 2018, the City Club of Chicago debate. I'm not getting paid by anybody on this deal, but I just think it'd be fascinating. Kristen and I will be there. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves.
How about that? You better hope it's not. Pat Brady better hope that's not the case. Ralph and Rantoul.
Yeah, good morning. John, always good to hear your mellifluous voice.
Voice of a nightingale, Ralph, you know that.
Indeed, indeed. Hey, I'm thinking as long as Bruce Rauner has transformed himself into a caricature of what a caricature even could be, I think more Bruce Rauner is like Klink now, who runs Stalag, kind of, sort of, but really Madigan as Hogan runs the place. And since LeBeau was the little guy, I think of him as like Rom, always sent off to do little guy tasks.
Frenchie.
And the whole thing has just gotten to be, as a spectator of Illinois, I feel sorry for it because it's a freaking awesome state being run by a bunch of boobs.
Thanks for the call, Ralph.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity for Upstream-Ideas.com. The main thing we learned from the 3,000-plus school walkouts that occurred and those already being planned for April 20 is who's in charge of K-12 education in America. And that should frighten you more than your average 18-year-old with a rifle or a violent video game. Those pillaging America's schools like Malcolm McDowell and his droogs in A Clockwork Orange are in charge of our schools, not attending them. It's zero tolerance on the one hand and tolerance of everything, including thuggery, on the other. If you're a white kid who scrawls the square root sign evoking a gun on a math assignment, then bring in Jack Bauer and put him on the clock. If you're a minority kid, say in Parkland, Florida, you can threaten to shoot up your school and no one will say anything. Under the guise of racial equity, schools are moving to remove disciplinary consequences for certain students and take discretion away from law enforcement in the process. Neither are teachers immune from the imposition of leftist orthodoxy. Just ask the California teacher put on administrative leave for hazarding a thoughtful discussion with her class about the politics of protests ahead of the walkout. With the politics being pushed on their kids, now is a good time for more parents to wake up and walk into their kids' schools for a healthy stop, look, and listen.
Shoot Point Blank is Chicago's leading shooting range and firearms store. Featuring 20 climate-controlled shooting lanes, complete retail store, and firearm education classes for all experience levels. Whether you're a new or expert shooter, now you can experience the Shoot Point Blank difference and see for yourself why so many people are talking about Shoot Point Blank.
I can tell you, I was impressed as soon as I walked through the door. The employees were really helpful, very patient, and knowledgeable, too.
My wife and I had a wonderful experience. We felt very comfortable and informed.
Brett was very friendly and respectful, and he answered all my questions. Because I'm new to pistols, I'm grateful he was patient and helped me decide what to buy for my new firearm.
For a huge selection of new and used firearms, ammo, and state-of-the-art indoor shooting range, visit them in Hodgkins, Mokina, Naperville, or Merrillville. Or check out shootpointblank.com. Experience the difference. Shoot Point Blank.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I was always just sort of feeling tired. And so I said, maybe this will just help in overall vitality. But in the past couple of years that I've been taking it, I find my energy has been great. I've been sleeping better. I don't get the cravings for junk food as often as I used to. I really attribute it to the product. It's so easy to use. Even if I want to take a capsule for my daughter and I just pull it apart to mix it in some juice or something, it's just something I'm very grateful to be able to incorporate. I really love the product. I think it's made such a difference.
Generally feel better, generally have better energy and more stamina. Breathing is easier, walking is easier. You're not in pain anymore, all right? I could go on and on.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
The following is a paid political announcement.
For decades, our country has lived through the greatest jobs theft in the history of the world. Our factories were shuttered, our steel mills closed down, and our jobs were stolen away and shipped far away to other countries, some of which you've never even heard of.
And who's responsible for those lost jobs? Career politicians. Senator Joe Donnelly profited from Mexican labor, and Congressman Todd Rokita and Luke Messer, they voted to fast-track Obama's trade deals. Donnelly, Rokita, and Messer let Indiana jobs go to China and Mexico and sat on their hands. We can't trust them to bring good jobs back. Businessman Mike Braun, conservative, Christian. Mike Braun will help President Trump make America stronger than ever before.
I'm Mike Braun. I approve this message.
Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
There's a place where you can get custom metal products. If you manage a commercial kitchen, hotel, condo building, or food-grade manufacturing plant, then no matter the type of metal or size of the project, the skillfully trained fabrication team at Vans Industrial has you covered.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. Custom metal fabrication is the backbone of my company. We fabricate stainless steel countertops, wall coverings, hoods, landscape planter boxes, industrial fan housings, and more. Vans Industrial uses all types of alloys like carbon steel, aluminum, brass, and polished stainless steel. And we have a laser cutting machine. Our laser can customize almost any project. Our team can design, fabricate, and install your project today.
Call 833-VANS-IND for a free inspection of your facility. That's 833-VANS-IND. Interested in what else they do? Visit vansindustrial.com. That's VANS industrial.com. Vans Industrial, customizing for you, the customer.
Men, are you tired of those daily blue enhancement pills that take days, weeks, or months to work, if they ever work at all? Listen up. Now you can take Red, the new natural male empowerment pill that works on demand. Even your partner will notice the difference the very first time you use it. To prove Red won't disappoint like the others, you're invited to participate in our nationwide I Take Red Partner Reaction Guarantee Trial. We're seeking participants for this nationwide trial, not only to prove it works the very first time you try it. We guarantee your partner will also notice the difference. Forget those slow-acting blue pills and join those who proudly take Red. Over 50,000 pills have already been claimed and supplies are limited. So to ensure your participation in this free nationwide trial, you must call now.
Superior Virility on Demand. You only need to take Red once to see what all the fuss is about. Call immediately to participate in our free nationwide trial. Call 800-957-6390. 800-957-6390. Be one of thousands to proudly say, I take Red. 800-957-6390.
AM 560, The Answer.
Congratulations to Keith Conrad, who won our office pool. Lay the points and take Villanova to blow out Michigan tonight in the championship game. John Cass, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, everybody. Mike, everybody. Thank you.
And now we'll turn it over to Mike. Thanks again.
Illinois dealing with a likely norovirus outbreak. We'll tell you where. One dead after using synthetic marijuana. WIND Chicago News Time is 9 o'clock.